A month later, the gym Deep Breath had settled into a steady operation. At this moment, Zaw Wu found himself pinned under Ying Ji. This was the legendary strength of Zaw Wu, the war god. Wasn't he the one that made Special Forces soldiers tremble in fear just by hearing his name? Though Zaw Wu was still recovering from his injuries, the pain was intense and he groaned out in discomfort. Ying Ji, startled, quickly stood up and asked, "Are you okay?" But to her surprise, Zaw Wu pulled her back down and pinned her under him. Helpless, Ying Ji couldn't move. Zaw Wu then taunted, "Isn't this the fighting technique Captain Mao taught me? When facing an opponent, make them drop their guard." Ying Ji immediately kicked the shameless Zaw Wu off of her. Just then, a news broadcast on the TV caught their attention. "Good evening, viewers. We are live at the site of an ancient tomb excavation. Workers have discovered a hole in the northwest corner of the tomb, raising concerns that it may have been tampered with. The tomb's entrance has been opened. Through the camera, we can see a group of people running out from inside the tomb. They seem panicked, shouting as they run, 'There are bodies.'" The reporter quickly rushed to interview them. "Is there a new discovery? Are these ancient remains?" "Ancient remains? No, they're modern. The bodies have already decomposed. You should call the police immediately." Seeing this, both Zaw Wu and Ying Ji stopped fighting and immediately grew serious. Then Zaw Wu hurried to the scene. His colleagues began reporting the details of the case. The deceased is a male, around 50 to 60 years old, about 170 centimeters tall, and has been dead for approximately 25 days. Seeing this, the investigators were all stunned and began discussing the bizarre scene. "I have been a detective for nearly my whole life, but I've never seen anything like this. A Ming Dynasty coffin used to bury a modern-day body. There's definitely something suspicious about this." Another detective added, "The grave robbers might have fought over the loot, and killing the victim to cover their tracks wouldn't be surprising. After they killed him, they probably saw the coffin was the right size and decided to just stuff the body in. The victim was probably a friend of the grave robbers, so if we catch them, we can probably solve the murder too." Soon after, people from the Antiquities Bureau arrived to ask for the police's help. "These grave robbers have stolen a lot of valuable antiquities, and we need to catch them and recover the stolen goods." Zaw Wu furrowed his brows and stared at the scene, when suddenly, an elderly man in serious attire caught his attention. He wasn't sure who this man was, so he called Ying Ji for clarification. Ying Ji informed him that the man was Fu Jian Sing, a seasoned detective from Branch M in City Q. This time, the city has sent people from various divisions to solve the case. It seems like there's some competition between them. I've heard that this man has a very calculating mind, so you should be careful around him. Zaw Wu proudly kissed the phone. "All right, my love, try listening for yourself. With this heavy rain, I'm freezing inside, and the mountain air is so stifling. You should come here to be with me." Ying Ji immediately got angry. "Who's your my love? Hurry up and get to work. We've got so many antiques to move. How are those tomb robbers going to transport all this with just a few carts?" Zaw Wu confidently replied, "Don't worry. There's only one way in and out of this ancient tomb. I already sent Zhang Jingfeng and the team to check the street surveillance cameras in the county. Also, I don't think the dead person was a tomb robber. Tomb robbers have rules, and typically, anyone over 50 wouldn't go down into the tomb. Digging a tomb is hard work. A tomb robbing team is usually made up of family or close relatives. The older robbers are usually the experienced leaders and hold a lot of authority within the group. So tell me, how could someone like that be killed by their own team? The dead person was wearing a dress shirt, which surely wasn't cheap. Have you ever seen a tomb robber wear a designer shirt to dig up a grave?" As they spoke, he entered a public restroom. Suddenly, there was a noise from inside. No, I'm telling you, that dead person couldn't have been a tomb robber. No tomb robber over a certain age would ever go down into the tomb themselves. The person's thoughts matched Zaw Wu's, so he quickly hung up on Ying Ji and secretly snuck into the women's restroom next door. He figured in this desolate place, there probably wouldn't be anyone around. When I went inside, sure enough, there was no one there. As he got closer to the partition, the voice became clearer. There was a surgical scar above the dead man's collarbone. He must have had surgery related to his thyroid. The sole of his right shoe was worn down much more than the left, indicating that his leg wasn't in good condition. Someone like that couldn't possibly be a grave robber, could they? Upon hearing this, Zaw Wu immediately became interested. This guy's analysis wasn't bad, so he listened more intently. The team sent this time was made up of top-tier officers, especially Zaw Wu from the art division. Don't be fooled by his youth. He cracked the major case of Ku Ping. We can't afford to underestimate this. I heard that kid has some pretty tricky methods for investigating the occult, someone mentioned. Unexpectedly, Zaw Wu heard news about himself and couldn't help but smirk with pride. However, just at that moment, a loud, urgent knocking came from the door. Who locked the door? Open up. I can't take it anymore. At this crucial moment, Zaw Wu's phone also rang, causing a disruption. He cursed under his breath and quickly turned off the phone. The man beside him seemed to hear something and immediately fell silent. The chaotic banging continued, a frantic pounding on the public restroom door. "Open up, please. I know someone's in there. I heard your phone ringing." Zaw Wu was starting to sweat. Just as the man began to get suspicious and prepared to check, a sweet female voice suddenly rang out. "Hold on a second. My stomach hurts so much. Sorry for earlier. I was squatting and my legs went numb, so I couldn't move. I'll be done in just a second. Sorry again." It turned out Zaw Wu had activated the stealth sound device. The man, reassured, finally left. After all, none of the officers sent over were women, so it couldn't have been someone from another precinct. The bathroom door slowly creaked open and a woman rushed in like a bullet, clearly unable to hold it in any longer. Zaw Wu, of course, quickly slipped out, thinking the person nearby hadn't gone far, and rushed to follow. It was then that he saw who it was, none other than the seasoned super detective Fu Jianxing. Zaw Wu thought to himself, if she's treating me as a rival, then let's see who can catch the criminal first. Soon after, another update came in from Super Detective Zhang Jingfeng, who had investigated the surveillance cameras along the routes the two robbers had taken near the traffic department. Officers from various other precincts had also arrived, and it looked like a crowded marketplace with people constantly coming and going. Zaw Wu had already expected this. The detectives sent for these other precincts were no pushovers, and he couldn't help but think, this is going to be tough. At that moment, his white cat pinged. The forensics team had sent over the autopsy report for the body found in the ancient tomb. The deceased was identified as Tong Pai Zuo, 57, an expert from the Antiquities Department of the Archaeology Bureau. The cause of death was head trauma. For this result, Zaw Wu was somewhat surprised. The body turned out to be that of an archaeologist. How could an archaeologist and a tomb robber possibly be connected? I can't stay in this mountain ditch any longer. I need to quickly head to Tong Pai Zuo's house to check on the situation. However, when Zaw Wu arrived, the area in front of Tong Pai Zuo's house was already crowded and there were yellow tape barriers around it. As he wondered what was going on, the headlights of a car suddenly shone on him. Looking closely, it was Ying Ji's car. Once he got into the car, Zaw Wu immediately asked, "What's going on outside? Are we allowed in?" Ying Ji, while wiping the rainwater off his face with a towel, replied, "The city department is investigating the case and there are just too many people involved. The whole joint investigation has turned into a chaotic mess. Even the captain came down personally and told us not to disturb the deceased's family. After they interview the family, the recording will be sent back to the department." Zaw Wu nodded in agreement. Will they keep doing this? Having too many people around just makes everything worse. Who could even focus on the case with all this chaos? He pointed to his neck as he spoke. Ying Ji, still holding the towel, paused and then turned him into a little girl wearing a red scarf. Suddenly the radio crackled and Zhang Jingfeng's voice came through. "Captain Zhao, I just checked the missing persons report for Tong Pai Zuo. It's not just in who's missing. Tian, Dongming, and Wang Taiming are also missing. Both of them were colleagues of Tong Pai Zuo. 3 people went missing at the same time. They even lied to their families, claiming that the Antiquities Bureau had sent them on an investigation. However, the Antiquities Bureau had no such arrangement. This left both families in complete shock. Could it be that there were no tomb robbers involved, and instead, the experts themselves went tomb raiding, only for internal conflicts to arise later? Zaw Wu also began sharing his thoughts. Don't you think the body found in the ancient tomb and the case of the female body in ancient clothes from 18 years ago are very similar? When we first set up the special investigation team for the robbery case, I reviewed an unsolved case from back then. In the past, when they were clearing land for the residential area near the Posh Stone Bridge, a local resident discovered a set of remains in their family tomb. In the grave pit was a woman about 35 years old and around 160 centimeters tall. The body showed signs of decomposition, but it hadn't fully decayed. The ancient costume the woman wore was a valuable cultural artifact. An announcement to find her relatives was posted for a long time, but no one came to claim the body. Since the body had decomposed, it could only be cremated. The police kept samples of the DNA, fingerprints, and blood, but to this day, they still haven't matched anyone, and the woman's true identity remains unknown. The previous case involved a body found in an ancient tomb wearing modern clothes, but this case with a female scholar in ancient attire involves a body in modern times wearing ancient clothing. The costume the female scholar was wearing is a cultural relic. It's not something an ordinary person could get their hands on. But if the perpetrator was a tomb raider, having 1 or 2 ancient outfits wouldn't be unusual. So, do you all think these 2 cases are connected in any way, or maybe the killer has some sort of twisted preference? Could it be the same person behind both murders? After hearing this, Ying Ji fell silent for a moment, then ordered Zhang Jingfeng to reopen the investigation on the woman's ancient costume case from back then. Meanwhile, Zaw Wu would visit antique markets or underground markets to look into the possibility of illegal antiquities trading, checking if anyone had been involved in selling counterfeit antiques recently. Once the tasks were assigned, Ying Ji personally drove Zaw Wu back home. As they arrived under the porch, Hong Zhe suddenly cried out in panic, "Officer Zhao!" Before Zaw Wu could react, Hong Zhe rushed toward him and threw herself into his arms. After a few moments of frantic crying, Hong Zhe confirmed that something had happened to Hua Hua and pleaded for him to help save her. The scene shifts to a wooden house where Zaw Wu is asking Hong Zhe to find a safe place to hide. He would go inside alone to handle things. As he stood there, Zaw Wu recalled what had just happened. Hong Zhe, still crying, had told him the whole story. Hua Hua's father ran a dog breeding farm, but one day all the dogs were poisoned and killed, leaving them in debt. Her father is still sick and can't pay it off. Since Hua Hua couldn't afford to pay, she had to take a loan from a loan shark, and that's when the creditors came and took her. Zaw Wu, still calm, asked, "What's the address of the creditor?" Then the scene returns to him standing outside the wooden house. After knocking on the door a few times, a man with blonde hair stepped out and arrogantly asked, "Who are you?" Zaw Wu wasn't someone to be underestimated. He chuckled and confirmed, "I'm Hua Hua's family. I'm here to pay for her." As soon as he mentioned paying, someone else quickly invited him into the room and started talking nonstop. "That girl owes our boss $190,000. It's been over 3 months now. According to our interest rates, the total amount due is $270,000. But since we're in a special promotion, we'll give you a 9% discount, so the final amount is $240,000. Zaw Wu didn't want to waste any time. He immediately transferred $300,000 to him. Once the money hit the account, the guy ordered his men to release Hua Hua. She came running out looking utterly pitiful. Her clothes were torn and her socks were ripped, clear signs of how badly she'd been treated. Zaw Wu, now seething with rage, declared that he would transfer the remaining $300,000 from his card to them. Everyone couldn't help but feel uneasy. They had never seen a customer so generous, wanting to pay even more. The fat guy finally took his eyes off the TV and curiously asked Zaw Wu, "What do you mean by that?" Zaw Wu sneered, "The extra money is for your medical bills." Everyone froze, stunned. They didn't expect him to be so bold. But in the next moment, their shock turned to realization. One of the thugs who rushed forward was sent flying straight out of the window, glass shattering everywhere. Hong Zhe, waiting outside, immediately charged in. The noise startled a group of people playing pool downstairs. They quickly realized something was wrong upstairs and rushed up with metal rods in hand. But to their surprise, the TV came crashing down from above, smashing right onto them, and they tumbled down the stairs. By then, a fight had broken out upstairs. A muscular guy grabbed Zaw Wu by the neck. Thanks to the gym sessions he'd been doing lately, Zaw Wu's strength had improved significantly. He raised his arm, elbowed the guy off, and then kicked him away. The muscular guy flew into the air and crashed into a coffee table, shattering the glass into sharp pieces that scattered everywhere. Some of the shards hit the fat guy's face. He quickly raised his plump arm to shield his face, but he was too scared to move from the sofa. Seeing how fiercely Zaw Wu was fighting, the thug who had been standing by quickly turned and ran. Zaw Wu picked up an ashtray and threw it at him, hitting him square in the head and sending him crashing to the ground. Another thug, holding a bat, tried to sneak up on Zaw Wu, but froze when he saw Zaw Wu's glare. Terrified, he jumped down the stairs, only to land in a pile of cactus pots. A loud, painful scream echoed from below, like a pig being slaughtered. Zaw Wu turned around and saw the fat guy hiding behind the sofa, making a call for backup. Zaw Wu smiled and walked up to him. "Oh, you're calling for help?" The overweight man twisted and turned, then turned around to explain, "No, don't worry, boss. I absolutely didn't call anyone." At that moment, Zaw Wu suddenly became serious and said, "When you're out here, you need to understand the rules. You give people 60 days to settle debts, 90 days to send a notice, 100 days to threaten them, and after a year, you cut them off completely. My sister owes you for only 3 months and you've already laid your hands on her. That's not following the rules. It's only natural that debts are paid. The money I gave you is for both the debt and the long-distance fees. My sister's debt to you is fully paid, and I've also collected the debt for how you treated her. As far as I'm concerned, our debt is settled." The overweight man nodded vigorously in agreement. Zaw Wu continued, "If you ever dare to cause trouble for my sister again, you'll have to deal with the consequences." With that, he picked up his sister and left, but to their surprise, they hadn't walked more than a few steps when a group of people chased after them. Clearly, it was reinforcements that the overweight man had called in. Feeling helpless, Zaw Wu knew the only option was to run. Every time he ran, they kept chasing. Soon enough, they found themselves in a dead-end alley. Zaw Wu cursed under his breath, and after checking the height of the wall, he quickly raised his hand to try to lift Hoa Hoa up. Seeing that the thugs were about to catch up, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and take a risk. To his surprise, the top of the wall was covered in broken shards of glass. His already worn-out socks became even more torn and ruined. The girl gritted her teeth and climbed up. Zaw Wu jumped up and flipped over. Below, he continued to help her down. The thugs quickly climbed over the wall. In the panic, the two of them ran into a warehouse. Zaw Wu shut the door and locked it. Only then did he let out a sigh of relief and pull out his phone, intending to call for help. However, when he turned the phone on, the light made him notice something. Zaw Wu was startled. The floor was covered with all sorts of jars and containers, each with dirt on them, like relics just recently unearthed. The heavy rain continued to pour down, and the sound of sirens echoed through the empty streets. Everything was carefully gathered, not a single piece left behind. When Zaw Wu saw Ying Ji, he waved and greeted her, then secretly mentioned he had something cool to show her. Ying Ji, suspicious, followed him. Zaw Wu grinned mischievously, promising it would be a big surprise. However, as soon as he opened the door, Hoa Hoa rushed out and hugged Zaw Wu tightly. Ying Ji immediately frowned and asked Zaw Wu, "Is this what you wanted me to see?" Zaw Wu gently removed Hoa Hoa from him and laughed. "The stuff inside, that's what I meant." When Ying Ji saw the jars and ancient artifacts, her eyes lit up with excitement. Zaw Wu believed these items were related to the murder case in the ancient tomb. However, just a few hours later, the conclusion came in. The antiquities were fake. The testimonies and evaluations from the thugs were in. They weren't tomb robbers, but rather helped in faking the antiquities. Everything in the small house had been fabricated. Clearly, this outcome left Zaw Wu a bit disappointed. But every time Zaw Wu thought about antiquities and fakes, he couldn't help but remember the female gym owner who used to wear black. Her place was the biggest in the area, and the high-end fake items often passed through her hands. When it came to antiquities from ancient tombs, she probably knew a thing or two. So he stood up and rushed straight to the prison. The next day, Zaw Wu brought breakfast to Jiang Jingfeng. "Did you look into that guy, Boss Lai, who specializes in buying antiquities from underground? Have you found anything?" As expected, Jiang Jingfeng was reliable. He'd already gathered information in just one night. But Jiang Jingfeng was really curious about how Zaw Wu got the info. Naturally, it was thanks to the woman in black. She had given him the crucial lead. At that very moment, Boss Lai was downstairs at the police station. It turned out he had come to bail out the fat guy who'd been arrested the day before. That fat guy was Boss Li's nephew. After a day of surveillance, Zaw Wu finally uncovered an important clue. Using his X-ray glasses, he saw Boss Lai hiding something in his car. As soon as the car drove out of the warehouse, Zaw Wu jumped into his own vehicle and scared the guy so much that he nearly wet himself. Noticing the man was a bit rattled, Zaw Wu quickly flashed his police badge and introduced himself. "I'm Zaw Wu from Substation R. I heard you're a well-known expert in appraising antiques around here. A few days ago, didn't we dig up a Kai Shao tomb from the Ming Dynasty in our city? There was even a body inside. I'm the investigator working on that case and wanted to ask you a few questions about tomb robbers. If you wanted to sell any stolen goods, who would you go to?" Seeing that the man still seemed reluctant to cooperate, Zaw Wu picked up a vase and began telling him a story. "Yesterday, when I was questioning my older nephew, I noticed that he couldn't keep his mouth shut. If I go back and focus on your warehouse during the interrogation, do you think he'd rat you out?" So 15 minutes later, I saw him walking to the excavation site with Zaw Wu. His hands were still working, but he kept muttering under his breath. "As long as I help you crack the case, you have to keep my business dealings secret." Zaw Wu, wanting to build a good relationship with the old man, gladly agreed to his request. After a moment of inspection, Mr. Lai gave his initial assessment that the grave robbers came from elsewhere, because if they were local, they would have definitely come to you first. While he was rambling on, he suddenly discovered something. These dry bones, could the 12 golden Buddhas in the legends actually be real? Meanwhile, at the R precinct that night, the detectives on the night shift were completely exhausted and deep asleep. Zaw Wu had just entered when Ying Ji, half awake, noticed him and called out, "Zaw Wu, what are you doing here in the middle of the night?" Seeing her, Zaw Wu gently took off his coat and draped it over her. Ying Ji then asked if he had any new leads. Zaw Wu replied that he'd been working with a friend to investigate the ancient tomb site and had uncovered some new clues. Hearing this, Ying Ji's interest was immediately piqued. "Do you know the Golden Buddha Temple Park in City Q?" "I learned about the Golden Buddha Temple Park in City Q through Lai Xu Sheng. It's said that inside the park there are 12 statues of people. Back in the Wanlai era, the New Enhai region went through a severe drought. Kai Shu once led a group of people to a local temple to pray for rain. To show his sincerity, he and some local leaders made a donation and used gold to cast 12 golden Buddha statues as an offering. According to an old legend, Kaisho's prayer for rain was just a cover-up. His true motivation was greed. He placed 12 fake Buddha statues in the temple, and the real golden Buddha statues were stolen by him. This tomb was not built according to traditional feng shui principles, which made it hard for people to discover. Even the best tomb raiders would have a hard time finding it. The deceased was an expert in antiquities, so this was a joint business venture. The seasoned experts had some clues about the golden Buddha, but they couldn't break into the tomb. When the news spread, a group of professional tomb raiders reached out to the experts to cooperate in finding the golden Buddha statues. After succeeding, the tomb raiders turned on the experts, killing the elderly specialists. These golden Buddha statues are extremely valuable and are likely hidden in the ancient tomb where the body was found. It's clear that these tomb raiders are targeting the 12 golden Buddha statues. According to the latest information from Ying Ji, Fu Jianxing's team found artifacts that were being transported by the tomb raiders. They were very clever, using a school bus to move the items. However, none of the golden Buddha statues were among the artifacts they found. Zaw Wu suspected that there might not be a Buddha statue in the ancient tomb, or that they hadn't found it yet. This could also explain why the other two experts hadn't been killed yet. They were probably still searching for the 12 golden Buddha statues. No matter what, Zaw Wu decided he couldn't stop here. He planned to visit the golden Buddha temple the next day to check things out. He also made sure to care for Ying Ji, helping her fall asleep so she wouldn't disturb anyone. But his way of comforting her only made Ying Ji want to punch him. A couple went camping in the woods, but the guy brought a whip, handcuffs, and condoms. This made the girl really mad, so she pulled out a stun gun and shocked him stiff. It turned out that in the morning, Zaw Wu had taken his subordinate to the Golden Buddha Temple Park. He figured that since the leads were dry, they might still be able to learn more about the 12 Golden Buddha statues. His subordinate shook his head in frustration, unable to understand Zaw Wu's approach to solving cases. As soon as they entered, they saw a police officer talking to the park manager. Zaw Wu flashed his badge and approached, asking, "What's going on here?" It turned out that a week ago, the worker responsible for the lotus flowers had discovered that many of the lotus flowers in the pond had been damaged. The surveillance footage from that time had also been erased. The park manager, worried something was wrong, called the police. After thoroughly searching the area, the police didn't find anything missing. There's definitely something shady behind this strange incident. Clearly, the broken surveillance camera was meant to hide something that happened here at that time. The Golden Buddha Temple always has tourists during the day, so if something happened, it must have been at night. Zaw Wu instructed, call the night security guard from that night. It turned out the guard had fallen asleep during his shift. Hearing this, the person in charge of the tourist site immediately got angry. Zaw Wu thoughtfully walked over to the pond and continued to speculate. Why has the water level dropped so much? It's not the dry season. Could the workers at the tourist site have secretly drained the water? Because if the water level is low, the lotus flowers will naturally wither. But the person in charge insisted no one drained the water. Zaw Wu, still doubtful, asked them to check the electricity meter. After more than 14.5 minutes of inspection, a plump woman came over and directly handed over the electricity usage chart for the tourist site this month. No one expected that the electricity consumption on that night would be so different. One of the subordinates speculated, could someone have come here at night, drained the pond, and then pumped the water back in? Wouldn't that be crazy? Or were they looking for something in the pond? At this point, the person in charge realized how serious the issue was. The electricity usage had exceeded expectations by such a large margin, and if higher-ups asked about it, he wouldn't know how to explain. Suddenly, Zaw Wu called him over. Sir, take all your pups and drain the pond completely. Once it's drained, we'll see what's in there. The person in charge lost all their ideas and was left with no choice but to coordinate. Several machines started up at once and began pumping out water. During a break, Zaw Wu activated the invisibility detection mode, setting the search range to its maximum. Suddenly, he noticed a room with its own surveillance camera. When he asked the person in charge, the response was, this room is quite far away, and the camera can't cover the area because its angle is opposite to where we are. But Zaw Wu thought it wasn't a big deal, so he decided to open the footage first. What if someone passed by the window or down the road? After reviewing the footage, they discovered that someone was actually there that night. The video showed a hunched figure, moving slower than the others, with someone always following behind. Was this person afraid of them running away? Zaw Wu told his subordinate, send this video to the family of the missing person. It should also be sent to the colleagues of the missing person's department to compare and see if it's the missing expert, Tian Dongming. In the surveillance footage, the people in question were staring intently at these stone slabs, which were covered in Buddhist scriptures. By now, the water in the lotus pond had been drained. The The stones at the bottom of the pond should have been covered in mud, but they were spotless as if someone had cleaned them. Could it be to make the other Buddhist scriptures on them more visible? These scriptures were found on the ancient tomb walls, on the stone slabs, and even at the bottom of the pond. Could the tomb robbers be trying to use the scriptures to find the 12 golden Buddha statues? At that moment, the missing persons department called and confirmed that the elderly person in the surveillance footage was indeed Tian Dongming. So a week ago, Professor Tian Dongming was still alive. The thieves around him were likely the tomb robbers involved in the ancient tomb case. And the victim in that case, Tom Pai Zuo, was probably also killed by them. At this moment, Ying Ji called Zaw Wu. I just found out something. The three experts, when they were younger, went on a field survey at Gaishan Mountain and were caught in a flash flood. Back then, there were 4 of them doing the survey together, but after the flood, one of them never came back. This left Zaw Wu completely stunned. Back at the R Division, Ying Ji mentioned that they had found a draft of the 12 golden Buddha statues in their office. Since that field survey, for some unknown reason, the experts had been keeping it a secret from their families and had been quietly researching the 12 golden Buddha statues. Zaw Wu thought that something must have happened to them at Gaishan Mountain. Perhaps their search for the golden Buddha statues was interrupted. Maybe there was some kind of mechanism in the ancient tomb. It's possible that the location they surveyed back then was where the statues were hidden, and now the tomb robbers might be there as well. But these were just Zaw Wu's guesses, and his superiors couldn't send them on a search just based on speculation. Zaw Wu, however, appeared to have a plan in mind. Since they encountered a flood back then, we just need to follow the river where the flood occurred and search along it. But the superiors couldn't make arrangements. How about I take Ying Ji with me on a trip deep into Gaishan Mountain, he suggested. Cuts at Gaishan Mountain, where a loud scream, almost as if someone were being killed, echoed from deep within the mountain. It was Ying Ji. Zaw Wu, are you crazy? Didn't I tell you to bring 2 tents? What is this? There's not a single useful item in this bag. Zaw Wu lazily lay on the ground and began explaining one by one. 1 tent is enough. These handcuffs are for catching bad guys. This candle is for emergency lighting. And this, he pulled out a small whip. This is for chasing away mosquitoes and wild animals in the deep forest. Ying Ji was so furious that her eyebrows shot up. Everything's useless. This is all junk. The next items Zaw Wu pulled out made Ying Ji's face turn red for a moment. It was the condom with ridges, full of lubricant. Seeing this, Zaw Wu quickly tried to explain, afraid of being misunderstood. This can be used to hold water or to tie things up. It's very sturdy. Ying Ji was so furious, steam seemed to be coming out of her ears. Tie things? What? Do you have some kind of twisted tendency? Zaw Wu stepped forward, ready to explain himself, but Ying Ji snapped. Go fetch some firewood and stay away from me. Zaw Wu quickly got up and rushed off to gather firewood. Meanwhile, Ying Ji regretted her decision deeply. What was I thinking? Why did I agree to this? How could I trust this idea and come all the way into this mountain to search for tomb robbers? But now, all she could do was make the best of the situation. After starting the fire, Ying Ji began cooking instant noodles. The smell made Zaw Wu's mouth water, but Ying Ji shoved him away in disgust. Eat your chicken leg. Zaw Wu turned and crawled into the tent to rummage through his stuff. Ah, Fu Jian Sing, that old fox, has probably already called for a helicopter. We can only drive there, so I need to fill my stomach to see who can catch those tomb robbers first. With that, he pulled out a deliciously fragrant roasted chicken. I'm not as petty as you. Take this and eat it. There's an old saying, better to abandon a mountain of gold than a chicken bone. Captain Meow, you should eat this. Seeing the chicken bone Zaw Wu handed her, Ying Ji felt dizzy. Zaw Wu, you really are a strange flower in the wilderness survival world. After eating her fill, Zaw Wu looked around and found the perfect chance to try and win over the goddess. Ha ha, Captain Biao, the last time I learned a few moves from you at the dodo, but I forgot them already. Ying Ji saw right through his petty thoughts. She agreed with a simple okay, but her actions didn't show it at all. She jerked her head back, but Zaw Wu easily dodged her. Before she knew it, he suddenly grabbed her from behind, locking her arms with such force that she couldn't break free. Captain Meow, I don't remember you teaching me this last time. Ying Ji's face turned bright red with frustration. Taking advantage of the moment, she pulled out the electric bacon she always carried with her and raised it, swinging it wildly. The flashing sparks made Zaw Wu quickly raise both hands in surrender. Captain Meow, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Fuming, Ying Ji stood up and headed towards the tent. Zaw Wu chuckled and followed behind her. Captain Meow, are you tired? You must be exhausted from the long day. Let's just sleep. However, just as Zaw Wu was about to enter the tent, a surge of electricity shot out from inside. Ying Ji threw out a sleeping bag. You're sleeping outside tonight. Zaw Wu hugged the sleeping bag on the verge of tears. Captain Meow, please don't be so heartless. There are monsters outside and I'm scared. Please let me in. I promise I won't do anything wrong. A flash of electricity answered Zaw Wu's question. Staring into the pitch-black forest, Zaw Wu suddenly felt a chill. To his surprise, it started to rain in the middle of the night. The sound of raindrops woke him up. At that moment, inside the tent, Ying Ji's voice rang out, Zaw Wu, are you crazy? It's raining. Don't you know you should come inside? It's midnight already. You want to freeze to death? Hurry up and get in here. Hearing this, Zaw Wu was overjoyed. He grabbed his sleeping bag and rushed into the tent. The cold outside was unbearable, and as soon as he entered, he threw his arms around Ying Ji. His teeth were chattering, and he muttered, I'm freezing to death, freezing to death. Seeing that he wasn't doing anything inappropriate, Ying Ji didn't mind him hugging her. They both drifted off to sleep in a sleepy haze. A young couple camping in the wilderness unexpectedly stumbled upon a secret in the dense forest. A group of people, armed with guns, was preparing to execute two elderly men who were tied up. These elderly men turned out to be the two missing expert specialists. One man, named Dao Yu, was urged by the group to take the gun and aim it at one of the experts. The expert, terrified, whimpered, oh no, and shook his head repeatedly. Seeing this, Ying Ji couldn't hold back anymore. She was about to rush out to rescue the man, but Zaw Wu quickly stopped her, saying they all have guns. If we rush out now, we won't be able to save anyone. We'll just end up trapped ourselves. It seemed that Dao Yu had never killed anyone before. He stood there, gun in hand, staring at the expert for a long time, unable to pull the trigger. Taking advantage of this hesitation, Zaw Wu quickly came up with a plan. He picked up a rock and immediately threw it to one side. The noise startled the grave robbers, and they all turned to look toward the source of the sound. Ying Ji seized the opportunity, leaping forward with a stun baton flashing in her hand. She struck Dao Yu, and the electric shock hit him hard, causing him to collapse to the ground, convulsing. Zaw Wu immediately pulled the two elderly experts into the bushes. Meanwhile, Ying Ji quickly grabbed Dao Yu's handgun and fired several shots toward the group of grave robbers. The grave robbers immediately reacted, but unfortunately, the leader known as Dao Zhang was also hit by a bullet. He fell to the ground but continued cursing. Dan, what's going on here? Chase them down. Don't let anyone escape. Kill them all. Zaw Wu quickly pulled the two veteran experts, and they rushed to flee. Ying Ji took the chance to fire two more shots at the enemy. After an intense physical effort, the two veteran experts could no longer keep up. With their age and weakness, plus the recent mistreatment by the grave robbers, they had no strength left to run. Zaw Wu suggested they find a hiding spot. This is bad, Ying Ji realized as she noticed she had run out of ammo. It just rained and now our footprints are everywhere. Zaw Wu scanned the surroundings, quickly brainstorming a plan. Suddenly, he turned to Ying Ji and asked, Captain Meow, can you climb trees? Ying Ji was surprised and frozen for a moment, not knowing what he was thinking. But the next second, Zaw Wu pulled her up onto a tree branch. After a while, the two grave robbers, one fat and one skinning, arrived. They saw the two veteran experts ahead raising their hands in surrender. Seeing this, they were overjoyed. It seemed like they wouldn't have to do any hard work. These old men couldn't run anymore. Just as the two robbers were about to make their move, a figure leaped from behind. With her long legs, she kicked the fat one and sent him flying. Almost at the same time, Zaw Wu grabbed a rock and smashed it straight into the skinny one's head. You idiots, killing you is effortless. Out of nowhere, a bullet grazed past Ying Ji. Next came a barrage of frantic gunfire. Luckily, Zaw Wu reacted quickly and pushed Ying Ji down behind a tree to avoid the bullets. Both of them reloaded and prepared to fight back. But surrounded as they were, they knew it was too risky to make a move. In this crucial moment, Zaw Wu activated his stealth detection mode. Captain Biao, just shoot in the direction I tell you. Ying Ji was skeptical, but with no better option, he chose to trust Zaw Wu and fire where he was directed. 1 o'clock, 8 meters away, Ying Ji raised his gun and fired, hitting a tomb robber. 3 o'clock, 15 meters away, 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 8 o'clock. After a series of accurate shots, the mountain suddenly grew quiet. Ying Ji held his gun and waited for a while. Once he was sure the enemy had retreated, he let out a relieved sigh. How did you know where they were? Ying Ji asked. Zaw Wu smirked proudly. Of course, it's because your husband, Zaw Wu, is amazing. Ying Ji couldn't help but curse. Then remembered he needed to call the command center for backup. When he checked, his phone was nowhere to be found. Zaw Wu took out his phone and checked, but there was no signal here. The only place where there might be a signal was the higher ground near their tent. So Zaw Wu waved at the two veteran experts and signaled them to follow him back. On the way back, Ying Ji couldn't help but ask, what have you guys been through these past few days? Why was the body of your colleague, Tom Pai Suo, placed in a coffin at the ancient tomb? Have you been working with the tomb robbers? The veteran experts' faces darkened, and after a deep sigh, one of them explained, "We brought this on ourselves. No one else is to blame. 20 years ago, Fan Bing led the three of us near Gaishan to find a secret cave. Inside, there were many ancient relics, but we didn't expect to find a human skeleton high up in the cave. We guessed it was the son of Kai Shao Qiu Cheng. The skeleton still had a leather scroll in its hand. It is recorded that when Qiu Cheng was alive, he hid a large amount of wealth, including 12 gold Buddha statues on Gaishan Mountain, and drew a treasure map that was specially engraved on 2 pieces of ancient jade. Later, when Qiu Cheng suddenly fell ill, he divided the 2 treasure maps, giving one part to his family and burying the other with him in his grave. However, we searched every corner near his body, and there was no sign of the ancient jade pieces. We thought that discovering a clue about the gold Buddha statues was a huge archaeological breakthrough, and we planned to go back, write a report, and request permission to search for the treasure. Unexpectedly, on our way back with the sample, we encountered a flash flood caused by a storm on Gaishan Mountain. Y and I managed to climb up the shore, leaving only Tong Pai Zuo and Fan Bing in the water. Fan Bing could have made it to the shore. When he saw that Tong Pai Zuo was about to be swept away, he turned back to rescue him, allowing him to grab onto a vine. Just as Tong Pai Zuo made it to the shore, a large log suddenly slammed into Fan Bing, knocking him back into the floodwaters. Fan Bing struggled for a moment and then shouted loudly to us, "The gold Buddha statues. We must find the gold Buddha statues." After returning, Tong Pai Zuo's mental state was in bad shape. He wouldn't eat or drink, and he wandered around like a lost soul every day. We advised him to fulfill Fan Bing's dying wish. He then pulled himself together and said he would dedicate the rest of his life to finding the gold Buddha statues. But if we reported the discovery of the gold Buddha statues, the search mission would no longer be ours. So we kept this secret and decided that the 3 of us would search together to fulfill Fan Bing's last wish. Since we couldn't find the ancient jade pendant Qiu Cheng left for future generations, we had no choice but to start from a different angle. Our main goal was to find Qiu Cheng's tomb, but for 20 years we couldn't locate it. The one who worried the most was Tong Pai Zuo. He was older than both of us, and in recent years, his health had been poor, requiring several major surgeries. As for me, my legs weren't as quick as they used to be. A while ago, he used his connections to track down a grave robber named Dao Zhang. He and his crew were really skilled. They found Qiu Cheng's tomb in just 5 days. But since they couldn't be sure it was actually Qiu Cheng's tomb, they had to dig a tunnel first. Only after finding the tombstone could they confirm it. On the day they dug the tunnel, we all told our families we were going on a field survey and went together to verify this. Tong Pai Zuo and Dao Zhang had already made a deal. If we find Qiu Cheng's tomb, we'll pay them a large sum of money to make them back off. In the end, Dao Zhang had already known our true purpose. Finding Kai Shou's tomb wasn't just about Qiu Cheng, it was to uncover the 12 golden Buddha statues. After Tong Pai Zuo and Dao Zhang went into the tomb, they found the jade pendant with a treasure map carved into it from Qiu Cheng's coffin. Dao Zhang broke the initial agreement, argued with Tong Pai Zuo, and killed him. After the tomb raiders left, the 2 of us thought we were as good as dead. But unexpectedly, Dao Zhang couldn't decode the treasure map on the ancient jade pendant. That's why he kept us alive, wanting us to help them search for the golden Buddha statue. The jade pendant was covered in Buddhist scriptures, and we had no choice but to help them decipher it. At that moment, Zaw Wu's phone rang. It was the sound of a walkie-talkie. This was the latest walkie-talkie feature developed by the police department, which could be used in areas with weak signals for short-range communication. Wait, could it be that Fu Jianxing's group still has survivors? Have they managed to contact us? After picking up the call, a deep male voice came through. It was Dao Zhang speaking over the walkie-talkie. Zaw Wu was startled. He was sure Dao Zhang had found Ying Ji's phone and managed to crack the password to the police team's phone in such a short time, which meant this group of people was incredibly skilled. Ying Ji snatched the phone from him. "Dao Zhang, you've got some nerve, huh? You're not a cop, yet you still dare to contact me." Dao Zhang sneered, still angry about Ying Ji shooting him, but he said he had other business to take care of today and would settle things with her later. Hearing Dao Zhang's words, Zaw Wu suddenly remembered something. The walkie-talkie feature only worked within a 100-meter range. He had stretched out the time, pretending to run away, and said quickly, "They're actually surrounding us. We need to get out of here fast. You use the phone to call the command center now." As soon as they said that, everyone rushed toward the tent, but the phone still had no signal. Zaw Wu, who was leading the group, suddenly stopped. The hidden detection device began to beep, signaling the presence of explosives nearby. Zaw Wu quickly turned around and shouted, "There's explosives! Run fast!" Ying Ji and the seasoned experts were startled. The 4 of them hurriedly raced down the mountain. A deafening explosion echoed through the air, and the mountaintop immediately erupted in a blast. Thick smoke spread toward them. Ying Ji turned to check on Zaw Wu's safety, only to see him being thrown into the air by the force of the explosion. His body was unharmed, but danger was everywhere. Just in front of them, a large piece of wood was about to fall on Ying Ji. Zaw Wu immediately rushed forward, pushing Ying Ji to the ground to shield her. In the chaos, the two of them rolled down the hillside. Large rocks tumbled down after them. Zaw Wu tightly held Ying Ji, protecting her with his body. It wasn't until the rocks had reached the bottom of the valley that they were able to breathe a sigh of relief. Ying Ji, her face pale, checked Zaw Wu's condition. "Are you okay?" Zaw Wu awkwardly assured her that he was fine. To his surprise, Ying Ji threw her arms around him. Tears streamed down her face. "You were so close to the explosion. I was so scared you'd die." But in the next moment, Ying Ji's expression suddenly turned serious. "Wait, where are the two senior experts?" In the forest, Wang Taiming was supporting Tian Dongming, who appeared dazed and asked, "Oh my god, where are they? Where did we run to?" The other person didn't answer. They just kept running forward. Suddenly, a gun appeared in front of them. "Want to run? Goodbye, old men." Before the words were even finished, a figure dropped down from the tree, swinging a vine at the man and knocking the gun out of his hands. Then the person began shooting continuously at the others. "You think you can mess with our people?" Then another figure flew up from behind, attempting a sneak attack. Zaw Wu was quick on his feet, raising his hand to easily block the strike. This scrawny Dao Zhang didn't pose any real threat to him. But what Zaw Wu didn't expect was that Dao Zhang suddenly used a Tai Chi technique, borrowing strength to strike, which sent Zaw Wu, usually so strong, flying. The blow almost caused his head to slam into a tree. Seeing this, Ying Ji immediately rushed in, spinning her leg and kicking straight at Dao Zhang. But Dao Zhang effortlessly dodged and used the same Tai Chi technique to knock Ying Ji aside. Ying Ji lost her balance, and just as she was about to fall, Zaw Wu dashed in and caught her. At that moment, Zaw Wu realized something was off. "Ying Ji, be careful. This bastard knows Tai Chi too." Ying Ji, growing more furious, drew the dagger she always carried and charged again. Dao Zhang, however, pulled out two tridents from behind. In the midst of the fight, Dao Zhang suddenly switched up his attack strategy, catching Ying Ji off guard. Then, one of the tridents plunged straight into her shoulder. Ying Ji screamed in pain. Seeing this, Zaw Wu rushed at Dao Zhang like the wind throwing a punch. But Dao Zhang easily dodged and swung the trident directly at Zaw Wu's throat. Although Zaw Wu reacted just in time, the trident still grazed his skin. Zaw Wu realized that he couldn't defeat him with traditional martial arts. He would have to find another way. So he stood up, took a deep breath, activated the invisible loudspeaker, and shouted loudly into Dao Zhang's ear, "Die, you bastard." Immediately, Dao Zhang's ear exploded, blood spurted out, and in an instant, he couldn't hear anything anymore. Half of his body went numb. Just as he froze for a moment, Zaw Wu delivered a powerful kick, sending him flying. Ying Ji, who was behind, was ready to deliver a deadly spitting kick to take Dao Zhang down. Dao Zhang was hit like a cannonball and slammed hard onto the ground, finally being dealt with. Both of them let out a relieved sigh. But at that very moment, the sound of footsteps echoed through the forest. A group of people armed with weapons emerged from the woods, and the two unfamiliar specialists were dragged out in handcuffs. Zaw Wu was speechless. Why were these old guys captured again? The man leading the group stepped forward from the crowd and greeted Zaw Wu. "Officer Zhao, sorry to disturb you." Zaw Wu frowned and looked. "That's like Su Sheng. Why is he here? Could he be after the 12 golden Buddha statues too?" Zaw Wu cautiously spoke to him. "Like Su Sheng, you're here at just the right time. Tell me, is this what's happening? Our police force is trying to capture tomb robbers, but we're understaffed and things are getting dangerous. Just when things seemed hopeless, you lead a group of good citizens to stand up and bravely help us." While the two were talking, a big guy hiding behind a tree aimed his gun at Lag Su Sheng. But before he could pull the trigger, Lag Su Sheng noticed him, quickly raised his crossbow, and shot. The man screamed and twitched, his mouth foaming. Just seconds later, he went still, his face turning purple and his body twisted in agony. He had clearly been poisoned. Then, Lag Su Sheng coldly continued speaking to Zaw Wu. "Officer Zhao, I'm sorry, but you two weren't part of my plan. Let me tell you what happened today. Your police team and the grave robbers ran into each other in the forest, and there was a gunfight. In the end, both sides suffered, and everyone was unlucky enough to get caught up in the disaster. What do you think of this story?" Saying that, he pointed the crossbow at both of them, but Zaw Wu, instead of being afraid, calmly smiled a bright smile and said, "Looks like we're both going to die anyway, but there's one thing I need to tell you. I really do know where the golden Buddha statue is hidden. This statement made Lai Su Sheng and his men slightly surprised. It seemed their leader had taken the bait. Zaw Wu continued talking nonstop. You see, Dao Zhang and the two experts found 6 clues from the ancient jade and Buddhist scriptures. They are 1 general's peak, 2 mixed jade stones, 3,000-year-old pines, 5 moon-shaped pits, and 6 stone footprints. Of course, these are things the experts just told me. We've already found the general's peak, and now we're planning to head south to see what the 4th clue is. To put it simply, the only clue we haven't found yet is the 4th one. Moreover, in the deep forest with no signal, the police department couldn't get in touch with us. It was only after 30 hours of us losing contact that they were able to find us here. I won't delay you for too long. I can even help you recover 12 golden Buddha statues. This deal is a good one, isn't it? To be honest, with so many of you here, and only 2 of us and 2 elderly men who can hardly move, you're probably worried we might escape. But if I'm wrong, and we can't find the golden Buddha statues, it wouldn't be too late for you to just kill us and silence us, right? Lai Su Sheng, hearing this, was slightly shaken. He wasn't wrong. Before the police arrived, he was the one in control. With this in mind, Lai Su Sheng confirmed. Fine, but I'll only give you 6 hours. Zaw Wu immediately turned to call the experts. How far is the cave from where you found the original will? The 2 experts quickly answered. It's about a 3-hour walk, but the golden Buddha statues can't possibly be hidden in that cave. We searched the entire cave years ago, and a few days ago, Dao Zhang checked it again. But Zaw Wu remained confident. All you need to do is guide us to that cave. He was speaking boldly, but inside he was feeling anxious. He could only drag this out for now and hope to adapt to whatever happened next. At that moment, a gunshot rang out from behind. Turning around, Zaw Wu saw Lai Su Sheng dealing with those unrelated people. This made Zaw Wu even more anxious. Had he already killed all the 2 robbers under Dao Zhang's command? Meanwhile, Dao Zhang was losing his temper, cursing nonstop. Goddamn, are you crazy? Who the hell are you? Lai Su Sheng angrily grabbed Dao Zhang's hair and shouted, Yuan Shao Kai, you don't know me, but I know exactly who you are. The grudge between us goes back 18 years. You killed my master and my little sister, and to make matters worse, you buried them in someone else's grave and dressed them in ancient clothes. Where did you bury my master, Wang Jin, and what happened to the ancient artifacts you stole from him? Hearing this, Zaw Wu realized that the killer in the case of the ancient woman's body was none other than this Dao Zhang. Let's rewind time to 18 years ago, when Yuan Shao Kai was just 19 years old, digging an ancient well with his father. Unfortunately, shortly after his father went down the well, a sudden scream was heard from below. It turned out there had been a landslide. Everyone rushed to pull them out, but in the end, the rope snapped and his father passed away, taking all of his hopes and dreams with him. Afterward, Yuan Shao Kai and 2 others went to a woman's warehouse to sell stolen tome relics. After getting paid, Yuan Shao Kai hesitantly said to the woman, Ma'am, could you give us a little more? I went to the market and asked around. That jade pendant we found last time is worth 6,000 yuan, but you only gave us 400 yuan in the end. The woman, losing her patience, turned around and waved her hand as she spoke. You're the one who mentioned the market price. If you're so confident, why don't you go sell it at the market yourself? Let's see if you're caught tomorrow. After saying this, she started to walk away. Yuan Shao Kai quickly stepped forward and stopped her. Please, ma'am, my father just passed away. Even for funeral expenses, you should give us a little more. Ji immediately got furious and shouted, Damn it, just because my dad died, do you think I should give you more money? You think I'm some kind of charity, huh? Are you guys stupid? Don't you want to live anymore? Get the hell out of here. After a while of punches and kicks, the 3 people were thrown out the door like trash. Ji threw the money on the ground and said, This is all your goods are worth. And as for your dad dying, what does that have to do with me? Looking at the scattered bills on the ground and the humiliation he had to endure today, Yuan Shao Kai silently made a decision. I will make them pay for this. Sometime later that day, Ji and the gangster boss, Huang Jin, were roasting sweet potatoes at Huang Jin's private home. After a while of enjoying themselves, sweating and feeling tired, they lay down on the bed. Suddenly, they heard some noise. A few more people appeared in the room. Before they could react, Huang Jin was pinned to the bed and had his throat squeezed to the point he couldn't breathe. Ji screamed in fear, but since the room was soundproof, no one could hear. At this moment, Yuan Shao Kai had completely lost his mind and ruthlessly killed both of them. Later, someone found items in the cupboard. Hey, look at this, it's all treasures. We're going to be rich. With these antiques in hand, the group prepared to leave, but how were they going to deal with the bodies? Yuan Shao Kai suddenly came up with an idea. Since they were tomb robbers, let's bury them in someone else's grave. That way, their bodies will be hard to find. Back to the present, Lai Su Sheng was still loudly questioning Dao Zhang. Where did you bury my master, Huang Jin? And what about the stolen antiques? Where are they? Dao Zhang sneered, the jade pendant and the map are here. If you have the guts, go look for them yourself. You already know who I am. Do you think you can just take those things from me? Lai Xusheng snatched the map and the jade pendant, saying, whether I swallow it or not is my business. You should mind your own. Then he stood up and ordered his men to take them along. Let's go. If we can't find the 12 golden Buddha statues, just wait to die. Zaw Wu frowned, silently thinking to himself, I have to find a chance to escape on the way. The group of men marched bravely toward the eastern side of Zheling Mountain. On the way, Zaw Wu carefully observed his surroundings but couldn't find a good opportunity to launch a surprise attack. Suddenly, a gun was pressed against his head. Officer Zhao, a voice said, you're not planning to take me to the cave where they discovered the will, are you? Dao Zhang spoke up. They've already searched that cave thoroughly. If there was really treasure there, would he be in this situation? Zaw Wu frowned deeply, thinking to himself, this guy is really hard to deal with, but still tried to remain calm. In my opinion, he said, if there's any clue left between the 1,000-year-old pine tree and the crescent-shaped pit, it's that cave. The treasure is hidden in there. Just because Dao Zhang didn't find it doesn't mean I won't. Hearing this, Dao Zhang snorted angrily and retorted, that's nonsense. There's no crescent-shaped pit in that cave, and there's no raindrop stone either. Apart from the underground river, there's nothing. Lai Xusheng chimed in, exactly. Would the treasure really be hidden in an underground river? Even if Ku Cheng is stupid, he wouldn't hide it in a place that's flooded. It's the golden Buddha statues, after all. Zaw Wu confidently said, can you please use your brain for a second? Are you just going to focus on the present and ignore history? Under what circumstances did Ku Cheng create the golden Buddha statue? The world was suffering from a great drought at the time. To pray for rain, Kai Shou teamed up with local merchants to cast the golden Buddha statue as a way to seek blessings. When Ku Cheng hid the treasure, there was no water there, so of course, there wasn't any underground river. He had only planned for his own future needs, leaving himself an escape route. He didn't care about what might happen hundreds of years later. Ku Cheng was so selfish that he even dared to swap out a golden Buddha statue meant to bring blessings to the people. A person like him only thinks of himself, just like the two of you. After hearing Zaw Wu's words, Lai Xusheng had no choice but to trust him one more time. Soon they arrived at the cave and Lai Xusheng spoke up, all right, we stop here. I'm guessing this pond is not only freezing, but the terrain is complicated. There could even be crocodiles. You don't want me to get in the water and become a snack for them, do you? Zaw Wu couldn't help but feel a bit frustrated, but stubbornly replied, why are you in such a hurry? Right now, this pond has a lot of water, but during the drought in the Ming Dynasty hundreds of years ago, this pond was actually a deep valley. I bet my life on it. The crescent-shaped pit at the bottom of this pond and the golden Buddha statue will be inside that pit. As long as I find the rainstone, the golden Buddha statue will follow. Lai Xusheng understood Zaw Wu's intentions. This guy clearly wants to trick me into jumping in and die, so he raised his gun. Fine, Officer Zhao, I'll leave it to you to show us this miracle. Now jump in and get the golden Buddha statue. As he spoke, Lai Xusheng's face twisted with malice, knowing Zaw Wu's words were just a guess. Pressuring him to jump in was as good as sentencing him to death. To his surprise, Zaw Wu nodded without hesitation. No problem. After all, I'm the one who knows the exact location of the golden Buddha statue. Stunningly, Ying Ji yelled out, no, Zaw Wu, let me go with you. Lai Xusheng immediately aimed his gun at her. No can do. This policewoman still has to be our hostage. In 15 minutes, if we don't see you bring back the golden Buddha statue, I'll kill your girlfriend and both of those old men too. Zaw Wu furrowed his brow, but he couldn't fight back. They unlocked the handcuffs from his wrists, strapped a safety line around him, and told him that if he found the statue, they'd pull him back up. We'll pull you up. Before jumping into the water, Zaw Wu walked over to Ying Ji and said softly, don't worry, my love. I'll find the golden Buddha statue. Wait for me here. He said that, then blew Ying Ji a kiss before jumping into the pond. Damn, it's freezing. Guess it's time to use the system's tricks. The night vision and invisibility modes are activated. The stealth respirator's on too. But this pond is huge. What if it leads outside? If it does, I could circle around and ambush them from behind. If not, I'll have to go back and lie, saying I found it, but I didn't have the tools to dig it up. Because the underwater terrain was so complicated, Zaw Wu activated the stealth telescope. He always felt a current pulling him deeper into the cave. But when he looked down into the water, he gasped. Oh my god, what is that? A huge crack appeared, and there was a very clear crescent shape, like a crescent-shaped lake. Could the golden Buddha statue really be buried underwater? In that instant, Zaw Wu didn't even feel the cold anymore. His blood was boiling like fire. If Ku Cheng hid the treasure here before the water covered it, Where would he have hidden it? Zaw Wu quickly swam toward the deeper water, scanning the area. He soon discovered another mechanism. In a sunken pit, there was a unique stone, one that looked like a raindrop. Zaw Wu was so excited, he almost screamed. The last clue on the treasure map was this raindrop stone. But how could a stone hide a golden Buddha statue? He activated his X-ray device and suddenly noticed some fragments of rock that looked different. He pried those pieces out and found a small crack. Could there be another secret chamber inside? Zaw Wu swam further into the crack, feeling like he was getting closer and closer to the legendary treasure. But unexpectedly, halfway through, the rope tied to him reached its limit. It was probably too short. If they pull the rope back and find out I'm gone, they might just kill me to cover it up. But this didn't worry Zaw Wu at all. He tied the rope to a big rock and kept swimming forward. After swimming through a long tunnel, he finally surfaced in a place with air. What he saw before him was a cave about 10 square meters in size, filled with dozens of large wooden crates. He climbed ashore, picked up a rock, and smashed the copper lock. Inside the crates, there were many shock-absorbing materials like cotton. As Zaw Wu opened the crates, a brilliant golden light shone, and a solid gold Buddha statue appeared before him. It really is a golden Buddha. Zaw Wu was stunned this time. Besides the golden Buddha, there were also many gold, silver, and jewels. He grabbed a handful of jewels and laughed out loud. After his excitement settled, Zaw Wu's gaze suddenly grew deep. Looks like heaven's on my side. Dao Zhang and Lai Su Sheng, you two are as good as dead. On the shore, Lai Su Sheng's group was growing increasingly anxious. Boss, he's been underwater for 13 minutes now. 2 more minutes, and the time's up. Who can hold their breath for over 10 minutes? The rope's been let out as far as it can go. If that guy hasn't frozen to death, he's probably drowned by now. Suddenly, there was a shift in the rope. The man with the yellow hair yelled and started pulling it up. Lai Su Sheng stood by, holding his crossbow ready. If he comes back empty-handed, I'll shoot him with an arrow. The situation filled Ying Ji with fear, and she kept screaming Zaw Wu's name desperately. And then what everyone had been expecting finally happened. As the rope was pulled from the water, what everyone saw was a golden Buddha statue. Moments later, Zaw Wu stepped onto the shore. I can confidently say all 12 golden Buddha statues are accounted for. They're all down there, he declared. Seeing that some people were still doubtful, he raised the statue high, then walked straight toward Lai Su Sheng. The golden Buddha statue has been found. Mr. Lai, please come over and inspect it. With that, Zaw Wu pretended to trip over nothing, flailing his arms and tossing the Buddha statue back into the lake. Afraid of losing it, Lai Su Sheng rushed to snatch it up. Seizing the moment, Zaw Wu then pulled out a bag of jewelry and threw it straight into the air. The thugs rushed to grab as much as they could, while Zaw Wu ran over to untie Ying Ji's ropes, then dashed forward and kicked one of the men straight into the lake. The man with long hair saw this and immediately pulled out his gun, but before he could pull the trigger, Ying Ji knocked him out with a punch. Quickly grabbing the gun, Ying Ji sent the bald guy in front of him off to meet his ancestors. Zaw Wu was very pleased with Ying Ji's skills. Suddenly, he shouted loudly from behind. Ying Ji responded by smashing the butt of her gun behind her, successfully sending another man with a shaved head back to Mother Earth. At that moment, Lai Su Sheng was hiding like a scared dog, but still shouting loudly, "Hurry up and kill them for me. Whoever kills them gets a golden Buddha statue." Before Zaw Wu could even hear the rest of the sentence, a hand grabbed him from behind. A bald man had locked his body, but the next second, he was hit by a copper bullet right in the chest. After that, the two of them worked together flawlessly. When one attacked, the other defended. When one defended, the other attacked. In the end, they successfully took care of all the thugs. Just when they thought everything was under control, Lai Su Sheng suddenly shot an arrow at Ying Ji. When the arrow was just 1 meter away from her face, Zaw Wu appeared and took the hit with his own body. Seeing that it was Zaw Wu who had been struck by the arrow, Ying Ji panicked and shouted, "Why did you save me?" It turned out that, in the critical moment, Zaw Wu had taken a poisoned arrow for Ying Ji. After a moment of chaos, Ying Ji's eyes had turned bloodshot. Without saying a word, she grabbed the arrow and charged straight ahead. On the other side, Lai Su Sheng was screaming like a madman. "Take it. The golden Buddha is yours now. Please spare me." But Ying Ji didn't care. She directly drove the arrow into his throat. The thugs, seeing this, were slightly scared and raised their guns, preparing to deal with Ying Ji. Dao Zhang suddenly grinned eerily. Now that Lai Su Sheng was dead, what were these useless fools to him? Thinking about this, he immediately hunched his body, thrust his hands forward that were still cuffed, and lunged to choke a man holding a gun. But in the next second, the man Dao Zhang was choking took a copper bullet to the head, and the shooter was none other than Ying Ji. Before Dao Jiang could even process what was happening, Ying Ji decisively shot in with 2 more copper bullets. Her face had turned into that of a furious demon. Anyone who crossed her path on the way was hit with a copper bullet the moment they spoke. It wasn't until Tian Dongming asked, "How's Zaw Wu?" that Ying Ji slowly began to regain her senses. She quickly rushed to Zaw Wu, pressing her ear against his chest to check for a heartbeat, but all she heard was an eerie silence. Without hesitation, Ying Ji continued with basic first aid procedures on Zaw Wu, but he remained motionless, showing no signs of life. At that moment, images of the 2 of them flashed through Ying Ji's mind. Tears streamed down her face, and her body trembled with anxiety. Why? Why did you take that arrow from me? Get up! Zaw Wu, you stubborn idiot! Get up now! And then, a miracle happened. After a stunned glance, Zaw Wu suddenly sprang to life in an almost unbelievable way. Ying Ji was so overwhelmed with joy that she couldn't control herself, pulling him into a tight embrace that lasted for more than 2 minutes. Before Zaw Wu could even say anything, Ying Ji kissed him passionately. Zaw Wu, not one to back down, responded with a French kiss that lasted more than 2 minutes. The reinforcements arrived quickly. Everyone was in a frenzy, with 1 more person injured on the other side and many more people lying on the ground. Was it really those 2 who caused all this? Over here, Ying Ji suddenly went quiet for no reason, which made Zaw Wu a little worried. He thought to himself, this is the first time she's killed someone, right? She must not feel good about it. After that thought, Zaw Wu gently patted her head, trying to comfort her. Captain Miao, don't think too much about it. In that situation, if they hadn't died, we would have. Honestly, I think you went easy on them. The most important thing is that we're both still alive. After hearing that, Ying Ji's eyes filled with tears. Her hands were frantic, scratching at the air while she kept saying, I really thought I lost you. Zaw Wu was a bit stunned when he heard that. Had she been worried that he might die? If it weren't for the universal antidote serum, it wouldn't have been able to get rid of the deadly poison from the arrow. This time had been incredibly dangerous. After curing the poison, he almost lost his life too. In the final moments, the automatic pacemaker had to kick in. If it hadn't, he'd probably have gone back to time traveling again. Suddenly, Ying Ji shouted right at Zaw Wu's face, Zaw Wu, listen up. If you ever act so stupid again and take a bullet from me, I'll kill you myself and then commit suicide. There won't be a second time, understand? Hearing that, Zaw Wu could only laugh helplessly. Just then, the system notification popped up. The encounter has been completed with 175% success. You've earned 10 system items. Please check them. Zaw Wu quickly opened the rewards. What popped up in front of him was a long list, almost like an ex's contact list. A universal unlocker, an invisibility cloak, a bulletproof invisibility cloak, an invisible pacemaker, universal antidote serum, invisible hemostatic medicine, energy enhancement pills, an electrical shielding device, an invisible tracker, a scent-based tracker, and a stealth plane capable of flying up to 30 meters high with a 10-minute duration. After reading the message, Zaw Wu immediately jumped up. This time, almost all the equipment had been used up, and he was already worried about that. Now, there was another issue to deal with. Ha ha! Cut to the scene at the R Division. At that moment, a subordinate was briefing him on the situation. The city department had sent a disciplinary monitoring team to handle the investigation into the police's actions in this case. Some of Lai Su Sheng's subordinates had made unfavorable comments about Captain Miao during her testimonies. This led to the monitoring team's involvement. In the meeting room, voices of reprimand filled the air. Comrade Ying Ji, as the head of the criminal team, you should understand the principles that guide criminal police officers in carrying out offline missions. Yet in the cave, you fired and killed 2 people, and another was almost killed. This is clearly an abuse of weapons. Even though they were all criminals and you acted out of legitimate self-defense, there were criminals who had already lost the ability to resist and no longer posed a threat to you. Was your behavior intentional? One of them was even shot directly in the head. We've heard that Captain Miao is known for being an excellent marksman. At such a close range, you could have chosen to shoot their shoulder, thigh, or other non-lethal areas. This is clearly specified in the criminal police's law enforcement regulations. Before they could finish speaking, Zaw Wu kicked the door open and stormed in, causing the room to fall silent for a moment. With more guts than caution, he yelled, "You bunch of despicable bastards! Damn it, are you trying to start a rebellion or what?" Without giving them a chance to respond, he walked over, grabbed a glass of water, and continued. "Are you interrogating criminals here? We're out there risking our lives fighting, and now we have to listen to your petty nonsense. If it weren't for the law, I have punched you all in the face already." The man with the thick lips spoke up after hearing that. "Why are you cursing like that? Are you a cop?" A glass in Zaw Wu's hand shattered, followed by a display of his body. "Look at the wounds on me. The fact that both of us are even standing here in front of you is a miracle. Try using your brain for once. Put yourself in our shoes and think. Back then, I was struck by a poisoned arrow, and I wasn't sure if I was going to live or die. The only one left was Captain Meow. We were surrounded by enemies, all armed with deadly weapons. If we didn't kill them, how were we supposed to survive? After hearing this, the man with the thick lips finally relented. Officer Zhao, please just hear us out. We were just following orders from above. After that, a conversation ended with Zaw Wu's sharp command, get out. Throughout the whole ride home, Ying Ji didn't say a word. Zaw Wu was the one who broke the silence, trying to lift the heavy mood. It's okay, I'm here. No one will dare to touch you. I'll always be by your side. If you get fired, I'll quit too. If you end up in prison, I'll smash the police station's window and go to jail with you. Captain Meow, please don't be like this. It breaks my heart. But in response to Zaw Wu's words, the only thing Ying Ji said was, stop the car. When the car finally came to a halt, Ying Ji's tears started to flow again. I thought you were dead. After you were hit by that poison arrow, I really thought you were gone. I didn't want to live anymore. I just went crazy, wanting to kill them all to get revenge for you. All right, don't say anything more, I get it. I understand everything now. Cut to a motel room where Ying Ji is playfully punching Zaw Wu on the bed. In the next minute, if you get knocked down by me, there won't be another chance. But in response, Zaw Wu remains silent, which completely confuses Ying Ji. Just as she lets her guard down for a second, Zaw Wu suddenly jumps up. In quick motion, he bends down at a 90-degree angle, causing Ying Ji to fall flat on her face, sprawled out on the bed. Before Ying Ji has a chance to react, Zaw Wu charges forward, trying to pull her into a tight embrace. However, Ying Ji is no easy target. She swiftly kicks him with such force that he is momentarily stunned. But with his strong determination, Zaw Wu quickly grabs her delicate leg, not forgetting to complain, that kick hurt a lot. Ying Ji, not the type to back down easily, laughs and teases him for being weak. You could still give up now, you know. It'd be embarrassing to admit defeat after getting knocked down. At this point, Zaw Wu's expression turns sour. Ying Ji realizes she might have gone too far, so she pulls her leg back, giving Zaw Wu a chance to come closer. But Zaw Wu isn't stupid. He quickly pins her down and starts saying some suggestive things. Captain Meow, actually, I've still got plenty of moves I haven't used yet. Before he can finish, Ying Ji pulls his head down for a kiss, catching him off guard. And then, well, things take their course. As for the rest, I'll leave it to your imagination. The scene shifts to morning. At this moment, Zaw Wu is grinning triumphantly because last night, he accomplished something that can't be mentioned here, while Ying Ji is still feeling a bit shy. Zaw Wu immediately pushes him away and curses, "You jerk." But Zaw Wu just keeps laughing, sounding almost out of his mind. Then, the TV suddenly breaks the news. According to police confirmation, at 3:25 a.m. today, a prisoner being held at Yunzhou prison escaped. The prisoner had suddenly fallen ill late at night and was rushed to Yunzhou Hospital for emergency treatment. However, during the treatment, the prisoner attacked a guard and escaped. As of now, he is still on the run. Currently, the escaped prisoner's photo has been made public and the authorities are asking the public for help. If anyone has any information about him, please contact the police immediately. Zaw Wu's face suddenly darkens. With his experience as a former gangster, he knows for sure the escaped prisoner must have had someone helping him. But when Ying Ji asked him about it, he quickly denies it. I used to be in prison. No, wait, this is just something I learned when I was in police school. The key to a successful escape is having someone on the outside helping you. Without that, you're just asking for death. Before Zaw Wu can finish, Ying Ji jumps onto him playfully and says, who wants to hear you analyze prison breaks? You should figure out how to escape from me instead. But Zaw Wu flatly replies, no, because if you catch me, I prefer to serve a life sentence. After standing still for a moment, Ying Ji rewarded him with a kiss on his little guy for nearly 10 minutes. Zaw Wu, exhausted from it, fell asleep until noon. When he woke up, there was only a note on the table saying, I have to go back to the countryside for a trip. Before he could finish reading, the system popped up with another notification. The system's fortune-telling activation was successful. Guess the divination. Guess the direction of the thunder of the tide. The direct energy is not warm, the living blue belt, the murky confusion. Zaw Wu read it over and over, but still didn't understand. But then he remembered that his mother had traveled back to the countryside earlier to find him an old book. In the book, it said, the Latin letters in the text are symbols for magic chants from the Republic of China, and the diagram of directions uses a cross as the center. Every 10 degrees, a diagonal line is drawn, making a total of 36 lines. If representing 360 degrees, each 10 degrees corresponds to one direction. If the 16 characters in the divination are divided into 4 groups, each group corresponds to a set of numbers in the book. The thunder of the tide is 1507, which points to the southeast direction. The direct energy is not warg as 8927 meters. The living blue belt is 9:21 p.m., and the murky confusion is 13. Could this possibly be indicating altitude? Based on the divination clues, Zaw Wu followed the trail and arrived in a parking lot on the rooftop. He was fairly certain that this fortune-telling could predict the location of the upcoming encounter. Until exactly 9:09 p.m., the system displayed a new notification. This mission has been completed with a 141% success rate. You have received 5 items named Level 1 Hacker Tools. After using them, you can execute 10 fixed hack commands. Choose one at random, and it will affect machines and smart devices. It can spread viruses, unlock passwords, copy files, and enable remote control. Just after reading this, a yellow car drove up. Then, a girl with silver hair stepped out of the car. After a dramatic bout of vomiting, the girl suddenly moved toward the balcony, took off her high heels, and without hesitation, climbed directly onto the railing. Realizing something was wrong, Zaw Wu immediately shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" The girl, startled by his shout, lost her footing and fell straight down. Luckily, Zaw Wu rushed over in time, caught her leg, and pulled her up. But since he only grabbed one leg, she cried out in pain as he dragged her up. Once she was stable on the rooftop, the girl started vomiting again, and then she threw up like a water hose. Just when it seemed like things were over, the girl suddenly rushed forward, threw her arms around Zaw Wu, and began crying uncontrollably as she told her story. "Those 2 people kept chasing me. I told them that if anyone jumped off the parking garage, I'd follow them, but they didn't care about me at all. Earlier, I just wanted to see what it would feel like to stand there." At this point, Zaw Wu felt completely helpless. "All right, you need to go home now. Tell your parents to take you to a doctor right away." With that, he turned and walked away. But 2 cars blocked her way. A bald guy stepped out and called out, "Miss, the master wants you to come home right now." But the girl stubbornly replied, "I don't want to go home. You guys need to leave me alone. Help me. They're bad people." Zaw Wu took a look around and shrugged. This is probably just some bodyguards sent by some rich family to take the girl home. Doesn't have anything to do with me. But when he heard the guard call him a punk and arrogantly say, "This is none of your business, get lost as far as you can," Zaw Wu's inner hero stirred. In a split second, he knocked out 3 of them with just 3 punches. The girl saw this and immediately thought of him as some kind of superhero, hugging his arm and showering him with praise. Seeing that he wasn't reacting too much, she decided to go for it and kissed him on the cheek. Zaw Wu, however, wasn't the type to be easily swayed. He pushed her away and said, "Just confirming, I've already eaten." But the girl clearly wasn't listening to him. She tried again to throw herself at him. This time, Zaw Wu was serious. He grabbed her wrists and locked her arms behind her like he was arresting her. The girl, somehow thinking he was trying to do some weird move, actually thought he was trying to put her in a lahan, a Buddhist pose. Zaw Wu was at a loss for words and her total lack of common sense. So without wasting any more time, he tossed her straight into the trunk of the bodyguard's car and ordered them to take her home. She didn't even say thank you, and the guard actually had the nerve to call him a jerk. But Zaw Wu didn't care. He went back to the R precinct. Once there, he took out his phone and called Ying Ji. "I'm at the precinct now. You're going to be gone for a whole week. Why didn't you bring me to meet your parents while you're at it?" Ying Ji turned red and stammered, "Now is not the right time." Suddenly, someone walked by. By instinct, Zaw Wu turned his head to look, and that's when Ying Ji noticed the lipstick stain on his face. Thinking back to the moment when the girl had kissed him against his will, Zaw Wu quickly panicked and tried to come up with an excuse. Just then, a voice from inside the room urgently called out, "I want to confess, I killed someone. The murder at the oil company's apartment complex number 210 years ago. I did it. It was me. I killed that person. Can you handcuff me now? I want to take a few pictures first." Zaw Wu, distracted by all the events, ignored Ying Ji, which made her furious. She kept asking about the lipstick mark on his cheek. Zaw Wu, trying to change the subject, quickly mentioned a new case, and after a few vague words, hung up the phone and stuck his head back into the room to deal with the gossip. Inside the room, Chang Jingfeng was questioning the man. "You're Lan Shuping, right?" The actor who played the father of the male lead in the graduation season show, and also the host of the 12 o'clock cooking program. The man quickly confirmed, "Yes, that's right." He hurriedly added, "Please don't waste time investigating. I heard your team already solved the case of the field agent, so can you just quickly convict me?" But his subordinate insisted on following the correct procedure. The murder case at the oil company's apartment complex number 2, 10 years ago, where a woman was stabbed to death with a knife. Back then, he was a suspect, but the case was closed. The actual murderer was Feng Kuo, and he's in the locker now. Lan Shuping immediately shouted, "That's not true. The woman who was killed was my college friend, Liu Cao." Feng Kuo is innocent. I'm the real murderer. Before he could finish his sentence, Zaw Wu stormed in and shouted, "You're lying. You say you killed her, so answer this. When you used the knife, were you wearing gloves? Where did you stab her? How many times? Were there fingerprints on the knife? Did you stab her inside or outside the house?" Lan Shuping replied, yeah, I wore gloves. My mind was blank at the time. Zaw Wu pressed on, "All right, tell the truth. Shuping, Feng Kuo just escaped from prison yesterday. He must have kidnapped your wife or child, right? What exactly is going on between you two?" Hearing this, Lan Shuping was helpless. He knelt down and began to tell the whole story honestly. "The three of us used to be really close, until 10 years ago in the No. 2 Oil Company apartment complex, around 9:30 to 10 o'clock p.m. The murderer rushed in and stabbed Liu Qiao 4 times in the stomach. Liu Qiao must have recognized the murderer from his silhouette, and with her last bit of strength, she left a message before she died. Feng Kuo, who had just finished filming, was the first to find her body. He immediately called the police and an ambulance. The subordinate, after reviewing the case file, added that Lan Shuping's story was indeed accurate. The record showed that Liu Qiao, Feng Kuo, and Lan Shuping were all college friends, having a relationship somewhere between friendship and romance. This made both Feng Kuo and Lan Shuping suspects in Liu Qiao's murder. However, on the night of the crime, Lan Shuping had been at a restaurant near the crime scene, and the restaurant owner could vouch for him. At the time, he was drinking with a college friend named Guan Jun until 11 p.m. Guan Jun even personally drove Lan Shuping home. Because of his alibi, Lan Shuping was clear of suspicion. The day after the incident, the police found a blood-stained dagger belonging to Liu Qiao and Feng Kuo's fingerprints in the drawer of Feng Kuo's bedroom. In addition, there were Feng Kuo's fingerprints, shoe prints, and hair at the crime scene. The police immediately identified Feng Kuo as the murderer. He was later sentenced to death, but his execution was postponed multiple times due to unsuccessful appeals. Eventually, his sentence was reduced to life imprisonment. Because of his exceptional carpentry skills and good behavior, his sentence was later reduced to 19 years. Now, after 10 years, he has 9 years left before he can be released. Upon hearing this, Zaw Wu offered a theory. Feng Kuo and Liu Qiao lived together. It's completely normal to find his fingerprints and shoe prints at the scene. This alone doesn't prove his guilt. When he discovered Liu Qiao had collapsed, he called the police before calling an ambulance, suggesting that deep down he believed Liu Qiao was still alive. This doesn't sound like something a murderer would do. Also, if he had committed the crime, he would have gone home first to hide the weapon in his bedroom drawer before returning to the scene to call for help. That doesn't make much sense. Are you suggesting that Feng Kuo was framed? Someone asked. If he was the murderer, he should have worn gloves while killing or at least wiped the fingerprints off the knife handle after the crime, but Feng Kuo's fingerprints were found on the handle. How do you explain that? Besides, if he was being framed, why did the killer just dispose of the weapon at the scene? Why bring it to Feng Kuo's house? Is someone trying to add extra details to make it seem more complicated? Feng Kuo would need a reason to want to kill Liu Qiao, right? Are they in a relationship? His subordinate also explained it based on the case files. The case records show that Feng Kuo and Liu Qiao had different views at the time. Feng Kuo wanted to join big film companies to grow his career and planned to get married a bit later. Liu Qiao, on the other hand, wanted to stay with her current film company, get married first, and then develop her career slowly. But killing someone over such a small disagreement doesn't make much sense. So, could he really have been framed? Faced with countless tough questions from his colleagues, Zaw Wu chose to remain silent and observe the situation. Inside, he couldn't stop wondering, was Lan Shuping the one who framed Feng Kuo? Meanwhile, Lan Shuping sat at the desk, constantly sighing. My daughter is with Feng Kuo right now. If I don't turn myself in, he'll kill her. If he finds out I reported him to the police, he'll definitely finish me off. At that point, Zaw Wu began speaking up to offer an analysis. The current situation pointed to 2 things. First, it seemed very likely that Feng Kuo was innocent. A man who only had 9 more years left until he could be released from prison wouldn't do anything to risk extending his sentence. Second, Feng Kuo was absolutely sure that Lan Shuping was the real killer of Liu Qiao and the one who framed him. But the subordinate felt that based on Lan Shuping's behavior and reactions, it just didn't seem like he was the actual culprit. Suddenly, an investigator ran in. Jiang Jingfeng quickly asked, "How's the forensic examination of the kidnapping scene going?" "This is what we know," the investigator replied. "Lan Shuping's daughter goes to the art school near the residential area every day to study drawing. She doesn't need to cross any busy streets nearby. A 9-year-old child walks to and from school on her own every day. The kidnapping happened along the road between her home and the art school. The time was just after 8 a.m. and the only part of the route without surveillance cameras is about 30 meters near the school entrance, so the kidnappers must have scouted the area beforehand. Zaw Wu immediately noticed something strange. At 8 in the morning, there are a lot of people around. It wouldn't be easy to kidnap a 9-year-old like that. So there must be one explanation. The girl must have known the kidnappers, which is why she was easily tricked. However, his subordinate still felt something wasn't quite right, since Fang Kuo had just escaped from prison. How could he possibly know the child? To address this, Zaw Wu offered another theory. The kidnapping doesn't necessarily have to involve him directly. He could have accomplices. Plus, escaping from prison is hard enough. Without partners, it would be even harder. He then turned to another colleague to ask about the details of Fang Kuo's prison break. Here's what we know. On the night Fang Kuo escaped, we're not sure what he ate, but he started showing signs of an allergic reaction. He was foaming at the mouth and passed out. The prison guards immediately took him to the hospital for emergency treatment that same night. After his condition stabilized, Fang Kuo needed to stay in the hospital for 24-hour observation. The prison guards were responsible for keeping watch over him. One guard stayed in the room with him, while the other stayed outside the door. Fang Kuo's right hand was also handcuffed to the hospital bed. However, since Fang Kuo had been behaving well in prison and had a decent relationship with the guards, they weren't too strict. In fact, they ended up falling asleep. At 3 in the morning, Fang Kuo managed to slip out of the handcuffs and escape. The guard inside the room was drugged with a certain amount of anesthetic spray. The surveillance camera showed that Fang Kuo jumped out of the window to flee. It appeared that someone had already cut through the 3 metal bars of the window's security grate beforehand. When leaving the hospital, Fang Kuo even changed clothes. Jiang Jingfeng raised a question. Could his accomplice be a fellow inmate he was close to? Zaw Wu immediately dismissed this idea. He had checked beforehand and knew that only 2 inmates in the same area as Fang Kuo had been released from prison. One was 85 years old, and the other had terminal liver cancer. But don't worry, everyone at Zaw Wu reassured Fang Kuo has always been in prison. If he had an accomplice, they would have to be in regular contact with him. Zaw Wu continued assigning tasks. Beanie, check if anyone regularly visits the prison to see him. Jiang Jingfeng, start investigating his friends, family, and relatives and dig into their backgrounds one by one. What about Lan Shuping? As for him, first make it public that Lan Shuping is the real culprit. This will distract Fang Kuo and buy us some time. We can use this opportunity to investigate and quickly rescue the little girl. At this point, the progress of the mission had reached 82%. Meanwhile, Zaw Wu also received a signal booster. The scene shifted to a breakfast shop near the police station. Zaw Wu, sitting and sipping his porridge, was about to eat his fried dough sticks when a car suddenly screeched to a stop. A butler stepped out and opened the car door. The person who stepped out of the car was none other than the girl with silver hair. Zaw Wu was still thinking about that rushed kiss from the other day. After a quick display of her assets, the girl had also suggested a big business deal. If he agreed, she would give him the car and an additional salary of 52 million yuan. Zaw Wu, fully aware that there are only 2 things that fall from the sky, rain and bird droppings, bluntly asked her what her real request was. Well, it's simple enough. You can just come and be my personal bodyguard, she said. After a moment of hesitation, Zaw Wu stood up and declined bluntly. Find someone else. I'm not as free as you think. Was he still questioning the salary issue? Zaw Wu continued, no, I'm not talking about money. I just think being a cop is still pretty interesting for me right now. The scene shifted to Lan Shuping's daughter's room. At this moment, her mother was sitting there crying uncontrollably, but still didn't forget to scold her daughter for being careless. Yesterday, you forgot to bring your kid's watch when you went to art school. If you had, we would have had a tracker by now. To calm her mother down, Beanie tried changing the subject, complimenting her on how beautiful her daughter's painting was. Once her mother had calmed down, Beanie moved on to the main topic. Has Lan Shuping ever mentioned anything about the late Liu Cao to you? Or maybe there are things like pictures of the 3 of them together or a journal from 10 years ago. We'd like to take a look. Lan Shuping's wife stood up and confirmed there was nothing. He threw everything away back then. He never mentioned Liu Cao, except for one time when he got drunk, called her name, and cried. I knew he liked her, but how can I be jealous of a woman who's already dead, right? Liu Cao and Fang Kuo are in love, and my husband must really hate Fang Kuo, but the police can rest easy. I know him well, and he would never do something like murder. He may seem outgoing, but the truth is he's actually very timid. On the way back, Beanie also showed signs of disappointment. She hadn't expected that they wouldn't find any information about that year at Lan Shuping's place. Zaw Wu, however, remained optimistic, smoking a cigarette and suggesting they visit Fang Kuo's house to investigate a little. At Fang Kuo's house, his stepfather greeted them. He offered them drinks and said, feel free to tell us what you need. We'll cooperate however we can." Zaw Wu was straightforward. "We'd like to see if Fang Kuo has kept anything related to the three of them from 10 years ago." Before he could finish, someone was pushed into the room from outside. She looked extremely exhausted and lifeless. Fang Kuo's stepfather quickly stood up and introduced her. "This is Fang Kuo's mother. She suffered a severe brain hemorrhage 3 years ago, and now she can't take care of herself. I also have a son, Xiao Zhen. He's a little younger than Fang Kuo, but he's not home today." He then led them into another room to a cabinet full of sculptures. He proudly continued, "These were all made by Xiao Zhen. Even though he's not my biological son, we're very close." If it had been guided down this path years ago, it might have become a famous wood sculpting master by now, known all over the country. Unfortunately, Fang Lin thought it was beneath him to be a carpenter, so he pushed him to pursue acting instead. Xiao Zhen is handsome, but his personality is introverted, which doesn't suit acting. I still don't understand why that kid insisted on breaking out of prison. He only had to stay 9 more years to be released. Now, everything is lost. Looking at the photo on the desk, Zaw Wu also felt a bit puzzled as it was a picture of Lan Shuping with Liu Qiao and Feng Kuo. The scene shifts to the evening where Zaw Wu is leading his subordinate to the scene of an old case. However, the subordinate, afraid of ghosts, keeps yelling as they walk. As they enter, the first thing that greets them is a dark shadow on the ceiling. The subordinate screams in terror, but after taking a closer look, it's just a torn ceiling panel. Then suddenly, Zaw Wu spots another shadow, and this time it's definitely a person. He quickly orders his subordinate, "Stay here." He then chases the shadow closely. In just a few minutes, Zaw Wu catches up and grabs him. The man, when pinned down, screams in panic. Once he realizes Zaw Wu is a cop, he calms down and starts explaining honestly. "I came in here to catch a cricket." He even lets the cricket go to prove it. He then leads the two to a restaurant, and fearing they still don't believe him, he continues to explain. "This is the restaurant I mentioned. I know this area really well. I've lived here since I was a kid. There's a family event, so we're taking a break from business for 8 days. Don't be put off by how shabby this place looks. A lot of people come here to eat. The side dishes are authentic, and the grilled skewers are pretty fresh. Sometimes you'll even find people drinking and staying up all night. Okay, here's my business card. Please keep an eye out for me. When the person comes back, make sure to give me a call." "Yes, I'll make sure the task is done." After walking for a bit, the subordinate finally spoke up with a question. "Zhao, isn't this the place where Lan Shuping was drinking the night of the incident? I remember the restaurant owner vouched for her alibi. Are you still suspicious of her?" Zaw Wu took a drag from his cigarette, then smirked. "I'm just a bit curious. If Lan Shuping ran from here to the scene of the murder, then came back here to keep drinking, is that even possible?" Back at the art precinct, Chang Jingfang immediately reported to Zaw Wu. While Lan Shuping's daughter was being kidnapped, a parent was recording a video of their son at the entrance to the art school. They might have captured the suspect on camera. Let's take a look. After fast-forwarding and rewinding the footage, Zaw Wu noticed a new clue. He zoomed in on the frame and a young woman appeared. Instinctively, Zaw Wu muttered, "I feel like I've seen this somewhere before." This comment left his subordinate speechless. "Zhao, that's a woman. How could you say this?" Before he could finish speaking, the subordinate quickly realized the meaning behind Zaw Wu's words. The scarf around the girl's neck was exactly like the one in the painting in Lan Shuping's daughter's bedroom. It had a sunflower pattern, very similar to the design in the painting. Chang Jingfeng quickly offered his hypothesis. If a little girl draws someone's silk scarf in her painting, it means they've probably been around each other for a long time. Feng Kuo just escaped from prison. There's no way he had the time to do something like that. So, the kidnapper of Lan Shuping's daughter can't be Feng Kuo. At this point, Zaw Wu's face showed a slight grin. First, let's check the route of the vehicle next to her. It's highly likely that the little girl is in her car. The next morning, Zaw Wu was still fast asleep when a subordinate rushed in to wake him up, bringing a very important clue. I've always been curious about this silk scarf because, aside from people in service industries like flight attendants or bank staff, not many people wear this type of scarf anymore. So I did some research. Turns out this scarf is a limited edition from Channel. They only released 10 of them back then. I think we need to find out the whereabouts of these 10 scarves. Also, the way the suspect tied the scarf is a unique old-fashioned knot. Right now, very few people still tie it that way. Then, the two of them continued to look at the photos taken at Feng Kuo's house. While complimenting Feng Kuo for being handsome, Zaw Wu suddenly noticed another clue. Feng Kuo's mother has a scarf just like the one the suspect wore, and the way she tied it is exactly the same as how the suspect tied her scarf in the video. This caught Zaw Wu by surprise. Could it be that the person who kidnapped Lan Shuping's daughter was Fang Lin, who had been bedridden in a wheelchair for years? A few minutes earlier, Zaw Wu and his subordinate had been going through the images when they found an important clue. When comparing it with the footage extracted from the camera, Zaw Wu was 90% sure that the suspect was Fang Kuo's mother. Fang Lin loved her son deeply, and to protect his innocence, it seemed likely that she had planned all of this. But considering Fang Lin's severe brain hemorrhage, it was hard to believe that she could care for herself, let alone orchestrate something like this. Her subordinate disagreed. From what she knew, brain hemorrhages weren't necessarily fatal, and with proper treatment, recovery was possible. Besides, there were reports from years ago that she had an exceptionally high IQ. If she had recovered, no one would suspect her anymore. Zaw Wu quickly instructed Beanie, help me look into Fang Lin's financial situation and find out where her money went. Chang Jingfeng made a new discovery after checking. The primary doctor who treated Fang Lin mentioned that 6 months before her brain hemorrhage, her condition had been improving significantly. However, Fang Lin had switched to a private doctor after that, so the current doctor had no information about her health. Is it really Fang Lin? Escaping from prison, then kidnapping, buying a car, scouting locations, and tricking a little girl. Although Xiao Wu Feng doesn't come home often, he has a personal assistant who takes care of Fang Lin 24/7. How could Fang Lin pull this off without the assistant noticing? Did she go out at night to kidnap the girl? Obviously not. To get close to the little girl, it had to be during the day. Facing countless questions from his colleagues, Zaw Wu still made a smart conclusion. All we need to do is bribe the assistant. To the supermarket. Zaw Wu and his subordinate are keeping an eye on Fang Lin's assistant. From the information he gathered, the assistant, Mai Fang, used to come here every day at 10 a.m. to buy food and wouldn't return home until about 10:30. But in the past 2 days, Mai Fang has been leaving at 8:30 a.m. instead and still returns at 10:30. If Mai Fang is working with Fang Lin, aside from buying food, what else is she doing? The subordinate immediately understood. She's delivering food to the hostage. Fang Lin might even be there with her. So the two of them continue to follow Mai Fang, along with Zhang Jingfeng. After more than 15 minutes of tailing her, they arrive at a house. While Zhang Jingfeng and the subordinate are unsure about their next move, Zaw Wu quickly uses a hidden tracking device and a universal lock opener. Inside the house, Lan Shu Ping's child is crying while drawing aimlessly. When Mai Fang saw the door open, she quickly squeezed through and ran straight for the exit. Then she bumped into someone's leg. Luckily, it was Zaw Wu. He immediately ordered her to stop crying. Zhang Jingfeng and his subordinate started searching each room. Once they were sure there was no one else in the house, Zhang Jingfeng approached and handcuffed Mai Fang. Terrified, Mai Fang confessed honestly, I understand what you're saying. I was just asked to babysit. Zaw Wu also noticed there were no men's clothes or belongings around, so he figured Fang Kuo wasn't here. He stepped closer to Mai Fang and asked, is this house in your name? Did Mrs. Fang Lin give it to you? Back in the front yard of Fang Kuo's villa, Fang Lin, who had been putting on a dramatic performance, suddenly froze. She looked up and saw Lan Shu Ping's daughter calling out, Aunt, are you sick? Why are you in a wheelchair? Meanwhile, Mai Fang was handcuffed and Fang Kuo's stepfather was left stunned, not understanding what was going on. Suddenly, Fang Lin sprang to her feet, making her stepfather break into a cold sweat, muttering, what the hell? On the other side, Zaw Wu was grinning triumphantly. It seemed like things were finally starting to make sense. It turned out that about 2 weeks ago, the girl had been at school when she heard someone calling out. Fang Lin approached the little girl by asking about a painting. This painting was done by my aunt a long time ago, but in the end, she didn't know what color to use for this part. The little girl explained. When she heard the question, she innocently guided him. Just use a little dark color here, but don't use black or brown. The next day, Fang Lin came back to find the little girl. To thank her for helping with the painting, he gave her a pink cake and made up a story about how he loved learning to draw and wanted her to teach him more in the future. After hearing this, Fang Lin was stunned. He had no idea how the little girl knew this, but Zhao Wu didn't seem to care. He just continued asking about where Fang Kuo was hiding. Where is Fang Kuo? Zaw Wu asked. Seeing that Fang Lin stubbornly refused to give up any information, Zaw Wu took out a photo and began explaining. You thought I wouldn't be able to figure this out. You and Mai Fang tried to kidnap him and even had to bring a fugitive to drive on the highway at midnight. The risk of getting caught was too high. So besides the maid Mai Fang, there was another accomplice. Mai Fang's husband, Zhang Haipo. I was able to track him down because the house hiding the little girl wasn't under Mai Fang's name. It was under Zhang Haipo. Although Zhang Haipo only appeared twice in Fang Kuo's visitation records, both times were in the past 2 months, especially the last one, which was very close to the time Fang Kuo escaped from prison. Fang Kuo had an allergy, and she deliberately triggered it to make him sick enough for the guards to send him to the hospital. She had already planned which department he would be admitted to and arranged for Zhang Haipo to sabotage the hospital's anti-theft window. Then she planned to give him the knockout spray and handcuff keys she had prepared so he could control the prison guards. But Feng Kuo's prison escape was just a cover. Her real goal was to kidnap Lan Shuping's daughter and force Lan Shuping into admitting that he was the one who killed someone years ago. As long as Lan Shuping confesses, Feng Kuo will be set free. We'd also checked the assets of Mai Fang and Zhang Haipo. They still owned a house on the outskirts of the city, so Feng Kuo must be hiding there, right? Since Zaw Wu already knows the whole truth, Fang Lin also confessed everything. The escape and the kidnapping were all my doing. Mai Fang and Zhang Haipo had nothing to do with it. I take full responsibility, but I ask you to release them. With that, the mission was complete with a progress of 138%. 5 anonymous browsing items were obtained, allowing for web browsing without any additional tools. The browser's search engine was enhanced, allowing access to things that regular websites couldn't find or items that were encrypted. It also automatically filtered out invalid or incorrect information. After that, everyone went out to celebrate. The subordinate was eating while adding more details. Just now, the colleagues from the outskirts of the city sent word. They've caught Feng Kuo and Zhang Haipo. It's hard to believe that Mrs. Feng, for the sake of her son, was willing to throw herself into prison. The other colleagues are also a bit baffled. Feng Kuo still has 9 years left in prison. Isn't Fang Lin taking too big of a risk? Isn't this like gambling away Feng Kuo's future just to clear his name? The only explanation is that she's completely certain. She must be sure that Lan Shuping is the one who killed Liu Qiao and framed Feng Kuo. Then, Jiang Jingfeng shared some shocking news. I've been in touch with Fang Lin's personal doctor. He said that although Mrs. Feng has almost fully recovered from the brain hemorrhage, she's been diagnosed with lymphoma, and she doesn't have much time left. This left the subordinate a bit stunned, and he quickly turned to call over Mr. Zhao. Is Fang Lin doing this because she wants to see her son's name clear before she dies, or should we lend a hand to Mrs. Feng? The colleague in the yellow shirt immediately disagreed. I don't agree with reopening Feng Kuo's case. If we investigate this case again, we'll definitely offend the police colleagues who handled it back then. One of them is now the director Hong Jianrong, the head of the police force in our city of Q. We can't afford to make an enemy of him. If we manage to solve the case, it would only expose a major mistake by the top leader and reveal his weaknesses, which could impact his political career. But if we fail to solve it, we'll become targets of the entire police force's anger. Zaw Wu heard this and slammed his glass down on the table, then seriously confirmed, I'm going to talk to Mr. Hong. His words shocked everyone, but in the next moment, he grinned and said he was just joking, then asked for permission to step outside for a cigarette. As luck would have it, the moment he stepped outside, Zaw Wu ran into the silver-haired girl again. This time she was being harassed. Just as the curly-haired guy was about to drop his pants and get up to no good, Zaw Wu yelled, "You dare to do something like that in front of the temple of Guangdong? Are you trying to get yourselves killed?" Then Zaw Wu was sitting on the guy's head, puffing on his cigarette, and asked, "You're the daughter of a rich family, wandering around this place at this hour. What's the deal?" To his surprise, the girl didn't recognize him at all, which left Zaw Wu stunned. Wasn't she the one with the green lipstick? The girl bluntly replied, "No, the person you're talking about is my younger sister, Mai Qi. I'm Mai Lai. My sister and I look alike, so people often confuse us." The curly-haired guy, ready to say something, was interrupted when Zaw Wu flicked a burning cigarette butt straight into his mouth. Just when it seemed like everything was over, a bunch of lights appeared in the distance. It turned out to be reinforcements for the curly-haired guy. While Mai Lai was still in a daze, Zaw Wu had already gotten into the car, waiting for her to leave. Having inherited top-tier driving skills from his past life, Zaw Wu was confident in his ability behind the wheel. Then he noticed a few cars speeding down the road. The thugs thought they could catch up to him, but in the blink of an eye, Zaw Wu had forced one of them to crash face first. The other thugs still thought it was just luck, so they got closer, planning to knock him over. But the next moment, one of them was slammed into and had his kneecap shattered by Zaw Wu. That's when they finally realized something was wrong. As Zaw Wu turned back to confront them, they quickly turned tail and ran deep into the woods. Once everything calmed down, Zaw Wu stopped the car and tapped Mai Lai's helmet. But instead of responding, she removed her helmet and rushed to kiss him, as if they were a couple about to take a wild leap. Zaw Wu wasn't the type to give in easily. He immediately pushed her away and said, "I've already eaten." Mai Lai wasn't giving up though. She lunged again, grabbing his hand and pulling it toward her chest, even suggesting they become a couple. "If you agree, we can head straight to a motel right now." Zaw Wu, hearing that, felt helpless for the second time. Just then, his phone rang. It was the guy who had been catching crickets for him the other day. He informed Zaw Wu that the restaurant staff had returned. The scene shifted to the restaurant. When Zaw Wu arrived, he immediately asked about Lan Shuping. Her father-in-law had mentioned something about the day of the incident. Lan Shuping had been drinking at her family's restaurant from 7 p.m. until after midnight. Is that true? But the girl's answer was no. 3 days after the death, the police came to question us. My father-in-law, who's getting a bit forgetful, told the police that the man had been drinking at our restaurant the entire time. But the truth is, he arrived at 7:30, ate until around 9 o'clock, paid, and left. I was the one who collected the payment. However, not long after, he came back, sat at the same table, and ordered more food and drinks. A little while later, another man joined him, and the two of them drank together until midnight before they left. How long did he leave in the middle of all this? At most 6 minutes, definitely no more than 10 minutes. He came back really quickly. By now, Zaw Wu's head was starting to hurt because the restaurant and the scene of the crime were only about a 5-minute walk apart. Switching to Lan Shuping's apartment area, as soon as she saw Zaw Wu, Lan Shuping seemed a little startled, but still tried to stay calm and casually asked how things were going. Zaw Wu didn't waste any time and went straight to the point. Before Liu Cao was murdered, you went to her place, didn't you? At first, Lan Shuping was a little scared, but then she honestly admitted it. On the night Liu Cao was murdered, I was feeling really upset about work and wanted to drink a little, so I went to a restaurant. It's close to Liu Cao's apartment. I drank until 9 p.m., then I borrowed some alcohol and went to find her. At that time, Feng Kuo was still at the film set. I knew Liu Cao was home alone. I just wanted to tell her that Feng Kuo wasn't just dating her, but also seeing another woman on the side. I thought if I told her this, she'd break up with him. But instead, she came up with an excuse to avoid me, saying, Feng Kuo is coming back soon. If he catches us, things won't end well. After she said that, I realized that no matter what I said, Liu Cao couldn't possibly like me. So I just stayed quiet and left. Wait a second. Who's the other one you mentioned? I don't know her. She's not from the film crew and she's not one of our classmates. She looks much younger than us, almost like a high school student. I happened to see Feng Kuo giving her a ride on his scooter. They looked really close. Hearing this, Zaw Wu became even more confused. The person who killed Liu Cao must have planned it all along, striking ruthlessly and decisively. Lan Shuping, on the other hand, had deep feelings for Liu Cao, so he didn't seem like someone who could be the killer. But who is the woman Feng Kuo is cheating with? Could she be the killer? Scene shifts to Section R. At this moment, Zaw Wu is waiting to interrogate Feng Kuo. During his free time, he continues to analyze. Who is that woman? All he has to do is ask that kid Feng Kuo, and he'll know. Besides, there's another thing he needs to ask him about. Suddenly, Wang Shengyao steps out, sees Zaw Wu, and yells, "What are you doing here?" But after she calms down, she unexpectedly steps forward and lifts Zaw Wu's chin. You're here to interrogate Feng Kuo, aren't you? Let me tell you, Feng Kuo is our prisoner. Without my permission, don't even think about interrogating him. Zaw Wu isn't one to back down. He grabs her hand and leans in closer. I'll interrogate whoever I want, and you have no say in it. Caught off guard by the sudden move, Wang Shengyao angrily snaps, Zaw Wu, don't think just because you've solved a few cases, you're some kind of genius. To me, you're not even worth a penny. Zaw Wu responds coolly, his voice sharp, Captain Wang, I'm not like you. I consider you nothing more than a fart I accidentally let slip. You better not get in my way. This case was already flawed when it was first sentenced. If anything goes wrong this time, can you handle the responsibility? After work, go feed your pig brain a little more, all right? I've got more important things to do. Inside the interrogation room, Feng Kuo is sitting there confused. The woman who was with me. Officer, which woman are you talking about? Zaw Wu felt helpless after hearing that. This kid had his fair share of secret affairs, even while he was dating Liu Cao, huh? All right then, just tell me everything you know. From the time filming started in this city until Liu Cao was murdered, tell me about all the people who were romantically involved with you. At first, Feng Kuo hesitated a bit, but then he started to speak honestly. If we're talking about this period of time, it would probably be that schoolgirl. I think her last name is Lai, and her full name might be A Lai. Once, I was coming home from the set and happened to bump into her right in front of my house. I think she lives nearby. We talked for a few minutes, and we seemed to get along pretty well. At that time, no one was home, so we ended up roasting sweet potatoes together a few times. She also secretly came to the set to watch me act, but I never told her anything about Liu Cao. She didn't know Liu Cao at all. Zaw Wu held up a picture of the murder weapon. You once trained as a carpenter. Do you think the handle of this knife would be easy to remove and replace? At first, Feng Kuo seemed a bit dazed, but then he gave his opinion. If it's glued, it would be hard to take apart. You'd have to apply heat to melt the glue, and that would be a lot of work. Do you think Lan Shuping swapped the knife handle? Zaw Wu asked. Then why do you think Lan Shu Ping would have the ability to change the knife handle? Is there anyone nearby who could do this more easily? Someone who knows woodworking and could easily swap the handle and leave it in your bedroom. Fang Ko immediately understood as soon as he heard this. Are you suggesting my younger brother, Xiao Zhen? On the way back home, Zaw Wu couldn't stop thinking about the case and the 2 marks Liu Qiao had made before dying. Everyone instinctively thought they were either the Chinese character for Ma or San, which might be a person's surname. But now that he thought about it, could it have been the character for younger brother in the phrase younger brother? If I want to prove Xiao Zhen is the culprit, I need to disprove his alibi, Zaw Wu thought to himself. Without wasting any time, Zaw Wu headed straight to the dental clinic, a location he had been directed to by the system earlier. The testimony from back then showed that on the night of the incident, Xiao Zhen, his father Xiao Gufeng, and a worker from the woodworking shop had gone to another city to deliver goods. They didn't return to City Q until after the incident. Could they have lied? And the ally that Feng Kuo mentioned needed to be found as soon as possible. If ally lived near their home, but she know Xiao Zhen? Zaw Wu was lost in thought when he suddenly jolted awake. There was a traffic jam ahead, making him feel uneasy. If this kept up, he would be late for the meeting with the system's scheduled encounter. Without thinking much, he immediately bent his legs and ran like a track athlete. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed, followed by a crowd of people gathering around to see what happened. Zaw Wu was among them. As soon as he looked, he recognized the girl with silver hair, but he couldn't tell if she was Mai Qi or Mai Lai. Before he could even sort out his confusion, another loud bang sounded. He turned around, and oh no, he wasn't wondering if it was Mai Qi or Mai Lai anymore. Looking up at the sky, Zaw Wu saw a shining star. No, wait, it was the criminal responsible for the crime. In the next moment, Zaw Wu quickly used a blood-stopping item on the girl, but since she showed no signs of life, the item was soon retracted. Once on the rooftop, Zaw Wu looked around for a moment but didn't find any clues. He quickly activated a scent tracking device. Immediately, the killer's scent hit his nose, and he followed it. Zaw Wu rushed downstairs, only to find the head doctor knocked out cold. He continued running down and eventually reached the bodies of the 2 silver-haired girls. There, the killer's scent had stopped at the bus stop. Zaw Wu continued to move closer. I then saw a man with brown hair standing there waiting for a ride. Suddenly, his expression changed, and he broke into a strange, almost mysterious smile. The next moment, he darted in front of a truck. Zaw Wu thought he was about to commit suicide, but somehow, the man managed to stand safely on the other side of the road. Zaw Wu, not exactly the serious type, raised his middle finger at the man in a playful gesture. The man was still confused about what Zaw Wu was trying to do when Zaw Wu made his way to the bike rental station to scan a QR code. What Zaw Wu didn't expect was that while he was renting a bike, the man already hailed a taxi. Before leaving, the man waved at him arrogantly. With no other choice, Zaw Wu ended up chasing after the taxi on his bike. He couldn't catch up. In frustration, Zaw Wu threw his bike directly at the taxi. Surprisingly, the taxi driver stopped, but the man had no choice but to jump out and run, trying to escape on foot with Zaw Wu hot on his heels. But in less than 30 seconds, Zaw Wu managed to catch up and corner the man. He thought it was over, but to his surprise, the man was incredibly strong. With a basic wrist lock, the man quickly flipped Zaw Wu to the ground, taking control of the situation. Luckily, just then, the taxi driver arrived, demanding payment, which scared the man into fleeing. They ended up in a quiet street where the man jumped up to the ledge of a house, then leaped to an even higher building. The 2 of them were now chasing each other desperately across the rooftops. It wasn't until there was nowhere left to run that the man finally stopped. But the very next second, he risked it all and jumped straight to the building across. Even more surprising, his landing was flawless. Zaw Wu could only shake his head in disbelief. But with more courage than common sense, Zaw Wu got into position, and with one powerful move, he launched himself toward the building on the other side. The killer had already prepared for this. He quickly used a board to shove Zaw Wu off the railing. In that life or death moment, Zaw Wu managed to activate an item, a cloaking spaceship, and instantly turned into Iron Man. Flying straight into the air, it was completely unreasonable. However, when he reached the top, he found no trace of the killer. Looking through a hole, he saw that the killer was dead for no apparent reason. Back at the R Division, his subordinate handed him water and praised him. "This was all thanks to you, sir. This guy was really hard to catch. The killer's name was Jin Chao. He was 47 years old, a former police officer from the outskirts of the city, and had received over 10 honorary medals. However, 4 years ago, a mistake he made caused a prisoner's death, which led to his dismissal from the police force. But he had no connection to the Shen sisters at all. This statement made Zaw Wu curious. He wondered who the Shen sisters were. His subordinate eagerly explained that the 2 women who fell from a building. They're the daughters of Chen Pinggong, the shoe magnate. The older sister, 19, is named Chen Mai Lai, and the younger sister, 18, is also named Chen Mai Lai. Zaw Wu continued to recall the brief kisses and then wondered, did the killer disguise themselves as a dentist? That's exactly right. The dentist who had fainted said that Jin Chao had used an anesthetic injection on him. That day, Chen Mai Lai had to go in for a dental procedure. Her younger sister, Chen Mai Li, went with her. Jin Chao, pretending to be a doctor, drugged the Chen sisters, then dragged them to the rooftop and pushed them off to their deaths. We also investigated Jin Chao's wife's account. Recently, a sudden deposit of 2 million yuan appeared, transferred from an account linked to a company called Doria. This company is a subsidiary of the Bai Shi Leg Group. Under the name of the wife that Chen Pingguan had married just last year, it's clear that she hired someone to kill. After all, 3 months ago, Chen Pingguang suddenly fell ill, was hospitalized, and fell into a continuous coma. If both Chen Pingguang and his 2 daughters died now, the person who would benefit most from the tens of billions of yuan in assets would definitely be his young and beautiful wife, the former beauty queen. I lie. Suddenly, Zaw Wu jumped in shock and yelled loudly, then quickly checked the name again. There was no mistake. I remember Feng Kuo's girlfriend is also named Alai. The woman's school and Feng Kuo's mansion were separated by just a wall, and their names and locations were quite similar. Could she be the young girl from next door that Feng Kuo had an affair with all those years ago? Without hesitation, Zaw Wu immediately called Zhang Jingfang, asking him to investigate information about Jin Chao and Alai. Seeing that his subordinates seemed quite curious, Zaw Wu quickly explained, hiring a hitman to kill someone, nobody would leave such an obvious trail. If Jin Chao was supposed to kill someone in a dentist's office, wouldn't that have been the perfect crime? Why go through the trouble of drugging them, dragging them up to the rooftop, and pushing them off? Doing all that in broad daylight and leaving evidence behind with the transfer? Wouldn't paying in cash have been safer? All these things seem like they were purposely designed to make it obvious to the police that Alai is the real killer. The subordinate immediately understood. It meant that whoever stood to gain the most after Alai was arrested was likely the real murderer. Soon after, Zhang Jingfeng called with the news that Jin Chao had been diagnosed with terminal lymphoma. Zaw Wu was a bit taken aback by this. He thought to himself, if he has such a serious illness and is still running around, it's hard to imagine anyone stopping him. If he weren't sick, nobody could touch him. The subordinate here started to worry because with Jin Chao dead, there would be no more direct evidence to challenge the case. Even if we find a real culprit behind this, there would be no way to charge them. But Zaw Wu remained calm. Since he wasn't in charge of the case, he didn't want to get too involved. The scene shifted to the bathroom in the police station. Zaw Wu was soaking in the tub, relaxing, when suddenly a new notification popped up on his system. This mission earned 177 luck points. Upgrading the system will cost 100 luck points. Would you like to upgrade to version 1.0? Before he could confirm, he heard a voice from outside. Officer Zhao. Looking for the people, he saw the subordinate and come to find him. They then headed to the U District Police Station, where the subordinate introduced him to his new team leader. Team leader Zhang Zai-chun, upon meeting Zaw Wu, immediately showered him with praise and asked if he'd get some guidance from him. Zaw Wu wasn't in the mood to help, so he bluntly replied, "No, I'm just a witness in this case, sharing my opinion. This case isn't under our station's jurisdiction. I understand, but during last night's interrogation, Alai insisted that he didn't know anything. Plus, even though the 2 million yuan in Jin Chao's wife's account was transferred through a company under Alai's name, that still doesn't count as direct evidence linking Alai to hiring the killer. We've been thinking along the lines you suggested. If Alai gets arrested, the next person who stands to benefit will be Chen Pingguang's cousin, Chen Pingcan. He's already a shareholder in the company. If Chen Pingguang dies with his 2 daughters out of the picture and Alai in prison, it's very likely that he will inherit Chen Pingguang's wealth and shares, becoming the owner of the Bai Shi Lai Group. And we can't let him get away with that, operating outside the law like this. Officer Zhao, if I'm thinking correctly, I should call you brother-in-law, right?" As soon as Zaw Wu heard the words brother-in-law, he immediately perked up, putting on a serious face and replied, Sure, if it's for your sister Ying Ji, I can help. I have an idea, but it's a bit unethical, so it's up to you whether you want to go through with it or not. Oh, and also, you'll have to help me with something in return." Then the two of them headed to the interrogation room. After a few brief instructions, Zaw Wu opened the door and walked in. Alai, sitting inside, felt a bit uncomfortable and wondered why they were back again. "You guys have already questioned me for an entire night. What more do you want to know? I've told you my relationship with those 2 sisters isn't great, but it's not like I wanted to kill them." Zaw Wu calmly entered, confirming, Today, I want to ask you something different. If you tell the truth, I might help you get out of this accusation. The thing is, 10 years ago, when you were studying at the Water Conservancy School, did you happen to know someone named Feng Kuo? Here's the translation. That's when Lai got angry. You really talk nonsense. Why should I believe that you can save me? Based on the fact that I personally caught the murderer who killed those two sisters, if you don't want to talk, then forget I said anything. I'm leaving now. Then Lai honestly confessed. It's true that I've had a few potato roasts with him, but after that, whenever I called, no one picked up. He's very handsome. What about Xiao Zhen? I've known Xiao Zhen for a little over a year. My school is only separated from his villa by a wall. There's a small park next to his villa. I'd go there occasionally and got to know Xiao Zhen. He likes to do carpentry, always carrying around a pile of wood. I found it interesting, so we started talking more. His house was often empty, and I was curious about that big villa of his. One time, Xiao Zhen took me to his older brother Feng Kuo's room. I saw a photo of his brother, and without thinking, I casually said he was handsome. Xiao Zhen got really mad at me and yelled in my face. I've never seen him like that before. After that, I felt really upset and wanted to get back at him. So I went to look for his older brother. I admit I was wrong, and I hurt Xiao Zhen, so I didn't dare look for him again after that. But why are you asking all these things? Zaw Wu replied directly, Feng Kuo's girlfriend was killed by someone. Because of this, Feng Kuo had spent 10 years in prison, but it's very likely that he was wrongfully accused. Lai immediately stood up and shouted, wait, you don't think Xiao Zhen was the real killer, do you? Oh, looks like you're pretty smart, Zaw Wu responded. Lai, hearing this, grew fearful and said, so, the person that day really was Xiao Zhen? She then continued, that time, my brother and I were doing something in his house. His brother clearly said Xiao Zhen had gone to the factory and wouldn't be back, but while we were roasting sweet potatoes, we saw a figure pass by outside the door. At that moment, Zaw Wu could confirm that this was Xiao Zhen's motive for the murder. As he stepped out of the room, Zaw Wu was stopped by two sisters. After some discussion and planning, Zhang Zaichun began the interrogation. Sim Xiao Ru, the wife of the murderer Jin Chao, initially denied any responsibility. This was exactly what Zhang Zaichun had expected, so she presented two documents. One was an old medical record showing Jin Chao was in the final stage of cancer, and the other was a police autopsy report confirming that there were no cancer cells in his body. When Sim Xiao Ru heard this, she froze. After a moment of checking the documents, she finally believed it was the truth. Zhang Zaichun continued, your husband Jin Chao is perfectly healthy. He doesn't have any illness at all. The doctor who claimed he had terminal lymphoma was misinformed. Someone tampered with his medical records, and that person is the one who hired your husband to kill the Chen sisters. Seeing that Sim Xiao Ru believed her completely, Zhang Zaichun began to fake sorrow. It was such a tragedy. Now there was no evidence left, and Jin Chao had already lost his life. It was truly unnecessary. She played the role so well that tears began to fall, and she muttered, such a pity, such a pity. Jin Chao was a retired police officer, and this stain on his record will never be erased. Outside the room, Zaw Wu thought her acting was too over the top, and she was talking too much. If she slipped up and Sim Xiao Ru figured it out, everything would be ruined. Fortunately, things were going as planned. At this point, Sim Xiao Ru was furious. She gripped the medical papers tightly in her hand and swore to take revenge on behalf of her husband. It turned out that an hour earlier, Zaw Wu had told the two women about Jin Chao's background. His terminal illness was real. In order to save his sick child and provide a better life for his family, he had agreed to carry out the murder of the Chen sisters for the person behind it all. The other side must have insisted on paying the deposit upfront, waiting for Jin Chao to kill someone and then deliberately get himself arrested. After that, he would personally point to Lai, and only then would they pay the rest of the money. So he must have known from the beginning that he wouldn't make it back and have to leave himself a way out. But when I chased after Jin Chao, I got the feeling that he had already mentally prepared himself for death. My subordinate had another question though. Why leave a way out if he was about to die? What if he died and the other side canceled the contract and didn't pay the full amount? Or if they went back on their word after he died, he would make everything public. The only thing that could hold the key to this was his wife. Sure enough, Zaw Wu handled the situation like a pro. At that moment, Xiao Ru came forward with the evidence. There was a USB hidden in the third-floor wall of my basement. It was left there by my husband. Yesterday, I received a package which contained a letter from Jin Chao. I only found out about everything he did just yesterday. In the letter, he said that if he completed the task, the other side would pay me $5 million in cash within half a month. If something happened to him, or if they refused to pay, he told me to take the USB to the police station. What's on the USB? I don't know, but I do know that the video my husband recorded could prove that he was framed. When she said this, everyone was stunned and shocked. Subordinate had already started to think of him as a great prophet. Jin Shao really left behind evidence. How did you know that? Officer Zhao, you truly live up to your reputation as a super detective. The way you solved the case by using the fake medical records is really unique. Maybe it should be put in a textbook. Flattered by Subordinate's praise, Zaw Wu chuckled helplessly before asking to return to the R Division to handle official business. As he walked out of the U Division, Subordinate continued to bow in thanks. After a few teasing remarks exchanged between them, Subordinate suddenly turned red and called him back, then bowed her head for a long time before shyly asking, "Could you do me a favor?" She then stood up, blushing and stuttering. "If you don't mind, could you take me on as your apprentice?" Zaw Wu was taken aback by her request. The scene then shifted to Xiao Gu Feng's woodwork shop in the evening. Driver Kong Wai Sen, who had been nodding off, suddenly woke up and noticed someone in the car. Before he could scream, Zaw Wu threw a punch that knocked him out cold. Kong Wai Sen woke up again, finding himself tied up in a deserted warehouse. Panicking, he quickly begged for his life. "I told you before, the money I owe you, please. Just give me a few more days. Why are you still laying hands on me when we already agree on this? So you've got quite a bit of gambling debt, huh?" Zaw Wu said, "I'm here today to get you to admit something. As long as you're honest, the money will be yours." Kong Wai Sen's eyes lit up at the mention of money. He quickly replied, "Ask me anything. As long as you give me the money, I'll tell you whatever you want." Zaw Wu immediately switched to an interrogation mode. 10 years ago, the eldest son of your boss, Xiao Gu Feng, named Feng Kuo, was arrested by the police. Back then, you and Xiao Gu Feng testified for Xiao Zhen, saying that the three of you were delivering goods in the suburbs at the time of the incident. Is that true? Kong Wai Sen quickly tried to change the subject, asking, "Who exactly are you? What does this have to do with my gambling debt?" Seeing Kong Wai Sen's expression, Zaw Wu understood. It was because of his and Xiao Gu Feng's testimony that Xiao Zhen had an alibi. If they could prove his story was a lie, it would prove that Xiao Zhen was the one who killed Liu Cao. It seemed like his statement from back then was definitely problematic. Then, he pretended to stand up as if he didn't want the money anymore. When the money was taken back, he was startled, his eyes wide open in shock. "Hey, let's talk this through, buddy," he said. "I'm going to tell you the truth right now. I really did go to the outskirts of the city with those two guys to make the delivery. It happened a while ago." This statement made Zaw Wu furious. He immediately kicked the guy square in the face. "I'll give you one more chance." Under Zaw Wu's intense pressure, Kong Wai Sen finally gave in and confessed. "Yes, I lied. Mr. Xiao gave me 10,000 yuan to cover up the story at Up Xiao Zhen." Back at the police station, not only did they not thank him, but the deputy chief started yelling at him like crazy. "The murder case at the apartment isn't even in our jurisdiction. What you did is completely unacceptable." But Zaw Wu wasn't the type to back down. He immediately asserted that Xiao Zhen was the real killer, and that Feng Kuo had been wrongly accused. "That guy is the key witness. I'll go interrogate him right now. He can prove everything." Since no one was willing to back off, the police station felt like a total mess. On the other side, Zhang Jingfeng didn't dare to make decisions on his own and quickly asked, "So, we're bringing Kong Wai Sen directly to the interrogation room, right?" And just like that, the two found another reason to argue. Then, the phone rang. After picking it up, the subordinate delivered more good news. "Subordinate, what's the update?" The person behind the murder of the two Chen sisters is Chen Ping Kan, the younger brother of Chen Ping Guang. It's clear in the video. Jin Chao even recorded a video himself, detailing the whole story. Before he could finish, Wang Sheng Yao stormed out and started yelling at Zaw Wu. "You haven't been given permission to reopen the case. This is against protocol. Do you want me to suspend you?" It turned out that their colleague Mao Wei had tattled and told the crazy woman Wang Sheng Yao everything. And yet, he still tried to protect him, saying, "What you're doing is going to offend a lot of people. So what if you're good at solving cases? Who's going to protect you?" Zaw Wu didn't care at all. He was ready to knock out anyone who stood in his way. He thought the interrogation would go smoothly, but the next second, a stick slammed down hard on the ground. The highest-ranking officer in the Key City Police Department, Director Hong Jianrong, had arrived and shouted angrily, "Stop! Everyone stop right now!" The crowd immediately started whispering, "That's Director Hong. He's really here." Zaw Wu dared to reopen a case he was in charge of. This is it for him. Zaw Wu felt a little nervous. He thought to himself, "What's going on today? Why is everyone getting involved?" Before he could finish his thoughts, Hong Jianrong appeared right in front of him and shouted, Officer Zhao, you've done an excellent job. Here is the translation. We as police officers are supposed to investigate the truth, no matter how ugly that truth might be. I had a lot of doubts about this case years ago, but I was helpless because there was no solid evidence. Besides Feng Kuo, I couldn't find any other suspects. Today, just showing you where I'm wrong, I'll make sure to correct myself. I'm counting on you. Saying that, the two of them high-fived like comrades, leaving the whole police station in shock. In the interrogation room, Zaw Wu was questioning Xiao Zhen. Now I'm going to tell you the truth about how you killed Liu Kao years ago and framed Feng Kuo for it. Since I'm not one to beat around the bush, I'll lay it out straight. You tell me if it matches what you did back then. 10 years ago, you and A Lai were in love. As a young guy just learning what love is, you must have been completely captivated by her. Then, after she casually complimented someone, you couldn't accept the fact that she showed interest in Feng Kuo, your older brother. Your pride was hurt, and you got angry. You fought with I Lai, but later you realized you were wrong and wanted to apologize. But then, just at that moment, you saw them together roasting sweet potatoes. At that moment, you felt completely hopeless. You made it Feng Kuo for taking away the one thing you loved. You prepared 2 identical daggers with the handles only nailed on, not glued. While Feng Kuo was sleeping, you left his fingerprints on one of the daggers. Before Feng Kuo finished filming, you went to Liu Kao's apartment. Since you were Feng Kuo's younger brother, Liu Kao didn't suspect anything and opened the door for you. After killing the person, he removed the bloody blade from the weapon and attached it to the knife with Feng Kuo's fingerprints. After his older brother, Feng Kuo, was arrested, he feared that the weapon might reveal his identity, so he went to his father, Xiao Gofeng. His father paid 10,000 yuan to bribe the driver, Kong Wai-sen, and instructed him and the other 2 to lie, claiming that the 3 of them were out in the suburbs delivering goods on the day of the incident and only returned after the crime had occurred. Now you have an alibi, right? I'm not wrong, am I, Xiao Zhen? At this point, Xiao Zhen's body shook with fear. After a moment of calming down, he admitted everything. Actually, after my brother was put in prison, I regretted it. I thought that if I sent my brother to jail, A Lai would come back to me. But when I went to the school to find her, I saw her get into a car with an old man. Officer Zhao, I was wrong. I ruined my whole family for a girl who wasn't even worth loving. I truly regret it now. Outside the room, Hong Ji and Rong also began to see Zaw Wu in a new light. If I had been like Zaw Wu back then, thinking more carefully about everything, being more cautious while solving cases, maybe the wrongful case that lasted for 10 years wouldn't have happened. As a result, the system's special mission was completed, achieving 140% progress, and 2 stealth spaceships were awarded. The scene shifts to the factory rooftop, where Jin Chao died. It's raining, and Zaw Wu and Beanie are re-examining the crime scene when suddenly a loud "ah" echoes. Turns out Beanie tripped, and looks like the fall really caught his attention, Zaw Wu comments. After getting up, Beanie turns to Zaw Wu and asks, "This is where Jin Chao fell to his death, right? Do you think there's still something off about this case?" After a moment of thinking, Zaw Wu confirms that there are still many questions left unanswered. Our department's investigation revealed that Chen Pingkan took advantage of Jin Chao's terminal illness and his family's severe financial struggles. He forced Jin Chao to kill the 2 Chen sisters and frame A Lai for the murders. The payment for the job was 5 million yuan, with a 1 million yuan deposit. We also found this money at Jin Chao's house. The 2 million yuan in Jin Chao's wife's bank account was a result of Chen Pingkan forging banking information. This has nothing to do with A Lai. Originally, the plan was for Jin Chao to confess at the police station after his arrest. What Chen Pingkan didn't expect was that Jin Chao recorded a video of their transaction. The evidence is clear. Chen Pingkan had no choice but to admit his guilt, and A Lai was declared innocent and released. Chen Pingkan claimed he was the one who sought out Jin Chao, saying he was familiar with police procedures since he used to be an officer. However, he didn't expect Jin Chao to die. Zaw Wu suddenly said, "Wait a second, wasn't it Jin Chao who reached out to Chen Pingkan first? That's kind of strange. According to the deal with Chen Pingkan, Jin Chao was supposed to just wait to be caught after the murder, right? So why did he run? And when I chased him, he had plenty of chances to escape. But it was almost like he was waiting for me to catch up. It's because he died that the police found the evidence of the deal." Beanie continued to ask, "So how exactly did he fall and die?" Zaw Wu replied, "Well, he lifted a piece of wood trying to stop me. I think I must have hit the wood and the rebound pushed him down." As soon as Zaw Wu finished speaking, he realized something didn't add up. He remembered that when Jin Chao fell, his face was down on the ground. If he'd been pushed by the rebound, he should have fallen with his head hitting the ground, right? Was he trying to commit suicide? Back at the restaurant, Beanie, eating dumplings, asked curiously, "Master, do you think Jin Chao committed suicide? But even if he did, what does that change?" So Zaw Wu had to explain again. According to the original plan, Jin Chao was supposed to be arrested by the police and personally point out I lie. But if he tried to commit suicide and left behind evidence of his and Chen Pingcan's crimes, forcing the police to quickly find the real culprit, then he must be trying to frame Chen Pingcan. Suddenly, a laugh came from behind Zaw Wu. He curiously turned around and realized it was a delivery person. Immediately, his mind began to race. A delivery person? He remembered that Jin Chao had used express delivery to notify his wife about the location of the USB with the crime evidence at their house. Something clicked in his mind, and he immediately instructed Beanie to have her team leader investigate every package that hadn't been delivered yet with a destination to Jin Chao's family members, whether it was for his child's school or his wife's workplace, should not be overlooked. Beanie immediately agreed, but continued to ask curiously, "Does the master think there's more information he hasn't sent yet? I don't understand why he would frame Shen Pingcan. Ah, wait. Could it be that A Lai found Jin Chao first and had him intentionally get close to Shen Pingcan? That way, He Lai could escape the whole fall incident cleanly and also eliminate the Chen sisters, making Shen Pingcan the new owner of the Bai Shi Lai Corporation." Zaw Wu didn't rush to analyze the situation. He just asked Beanie to explain why Chen Ping Guang had fallen into a coma. After sitting back down in his chair, Beanie started recounting the story. At that time, Chen Ping Guang was at his mistress's house. While showering, he was poisoned by gas, which was probably just an accident. And on top of that, the mistress died the next day in the hospital. Due to the scandal and complications surrounding the situation, the family has declared it a sudden illness. The Chen family is really a mess, and it's hard to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. After finishing their meal, Zaw Wu took Beanie to the Bai Shi Lai Group. They were greeted by Lai Sen, the director of Bai Shi Lai Group. After a few casual greetings, Zaw Wu got straight to the point. "We're here to learn about the relationships within the Chen family." At first, Lai Sen was a bit surprised, but then he honestly began to explain. Actually, the Chen family is quite complicated. Mr. Chen Pingcan, the two sisters Mai Lai and Mai Qi, Mrs. A Lai, and even Chairman Chen. Whenever any of them meet, it's like fire and water. The second young master, Chen Pingcan, and the chairman are half-brothers, but their relationship has always been bad due to conflicts over interests. As for Mrs. A Lai, she used to be just a wealthy housewife and rarely got involved in the company's matters. After the chairman fell into a coma, she stepped in as the acting chairman. She's quite capable, and to prevent Chen Pingcan from taking advantage, she has done everything she can to maintain stability within the board of directors. As for the two young ladies, Chairperson Chen has always been neglectful in her upbringing. He spoils them so much that they have become particularly eccentric and very unpredictable. The two of them and their stepmother high layer like fire and water, and they often provoke the chairperson to the point where he becomes furious. Chairperson and Ai Lai have always had conflicts, and in recent years they've been constantly arguing. The madam criticizes Chairperson for being too flirtatious and incapable of properly disciplining his children. Chairperson, on the other hand, complains that his wife talks too much and interferes in matters she shouldn't. Once, they argued so heatedly that they were both red-faced and shouting. In the heat of the moment, Ai Lai demanded a divorce and wanted to split the assets. In anger, Chairperson made a firm statement. "I'd rather donate all my fortune to society than give you a single penny." So, does that mean the rumors about Chairperson changing his will are true? But Lai Sen says no, that's just a lie. How could he donate his fortune to society? Long before this, he had already made his will through a law firm. If he really did donate his wealth, wouldn't that mean the two young ladies wouldn't inherit anything? At this point, Lai Sen suddenly raised a question. Didn't the case of the two young ladies falling from the building already end? Wasn't the person who hired the murderer second young master Chen Pingcan? Your questions are going beyond what's normal now. Beanie quickly explained, "We suspect that A Lai hired Jin Chao before, and that Jin Chao deliberately approached Chen Pingcan, tricking him into hiring a hitman and framing him for the murder." Lai Sen immediately dismissed it, saying if we're talking about schemes, A Lai is nowhere near as clever as the experienced Chen Pingcan. She's the type of person whose emotions, joy, anger, love, hate, are written all over her face. A person like her couldn't possibly pull off something as devious as that. Before he could finish his sentence, he suddenly clutched his head, sweating profusely. Then he stood up and said, "I just remembered something. A month ago, A Lai withdrew 10 million yuan from the chairperson's personal account. At the Chen family's house, 10 million yuan isn't really a large amount. I almost forgot about that." At that moment, Zaw Wu's phone rang. He picked it up, and Zhang Zai-chun informed him Jin Chao really did send the express delivery. According to the schedule, it's supposed to be delivered to the tailor shop where his wife works in 3 months. The package contains a handwritten letter from Jin Chao to his wife and a key. I had someone investigate, and it turns out the key is for a locker at the free market near the tailor shop. Guess what's hidden in that locker? Zaw Wu didn't need to think twice and immediately confirmed it's 10 million yuan in cash. Zhang Zai-chun was shocked, thinking he might be some kind of fortune teller, like Muhammad Salah. Both Lai Sen and Beanie froze for a few seconds, then in unison they shouted, "Super Detective!" Beanie was now certain this was the payment for the murder that A Lai had given to Jin Chao. As expected, A Lai was the real culprit. But Zaw Wu didn't think so. It was clear that there was only one step left to figure out, so where had things gone wrong? And who was the mastermind behind the deaths of the Chen sisters? Unable to wait any longer, Beanie urgently asked Zaw Wu to arrest someone. Zaw Wu bluntly responded, "No, I believe the case isn't clear yet. We can't just say A Lai is the killer so easily. She could just be an accomplice." Zaw Wu went on to explain Chen Pingcan's testimony mentioned that if A Lai was killed directly, the inheritance would go to the Shen sisters. But if the Chen sisters were killed and A Lai was blamed, the real killer could benefit the most. Besides, killing A Lai directly would make the motive too obvious and the police would definitely suspect him. At this point, Zaw Wu suddenly smiled wickedly. "I know who's behind all of this now." Before anyone could react, Lai Sen shouted out shocking news. The hospital just called. Chairman Chen, he's about to pass away. The scene shifted to the hospital, where Zhang Zai-chun was rushing through the pouring rain, holding a USB drive for Zaw Wu. After a brief exchange of thanks, Zaw Wu pulled out his phone and made a call to the lawyer. When the lawyer finally arrived, Zaw Wu began to put his top-notch plan into action, smoothly transitioning to the funeral home. At that moment, A Lai was crying uncontrollably. Suddenly, the door to the room opened and the lawyer walked in confidently, speaking. "We are representatives from the Lawyers Association. Mr. Chen Pingguang, while he was still alive, entrusted us to handle all matters related to his will. Now that Mr. Chen has passed away, we are here to announce his will to the public. According to the law, this was effective immediately." Outside, Lai Sen was growing increasingly anxious about the lawyer's performance. Zaw Wu, however, remained calm and reminded him to cooperate when the time came. Seeing that A Lai had fully bought into the act, the lawyer continued with even more conviction. "As for my personal assets, they will be distributed as follows, except for the estate at 53 Don Sun Road, which I leave to my wife A Lai and our 2 daughters, Chen Mai Lai and Chen Mai Lai. I have decided to donate the rest of my assets to charity organizations. I feel that I have taken too much from society and given too little in return. Every time I think of this, I feel deeply ashamed. That is why I am making this will, hoping to contribute more to society in whatever way I can. The Lawyers Association will be in charge of the specific division of the assets." A Lai, upon hearing this, quickly covered her ears, not wanting to hear another word. After a brief silence, she suddenly screamed like a madwoman. "My husband? He would never make such a ridiculous will. You're all part of an organized scam." Then came Lai Sen's performance. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "Chairperson Chen Divindi mentioned this to me. He said that due to exhaustion from his career and family, he wanted to donate his assets for something meaningful to society." He paused for a moment and then continued. "There's always someone willing to spread rumors, and the lawyer here has finalized everything. The will has now been publicly announced. To prevent any unexpected events, we must keep the original document. A copy will be sent to you tomorrow. We respectfully ask to leave now." At this point, A Lai had lost control, charging toward the lawyer, threatening him with everything she had. Zaw Wu, who had been waiting for this moment, swiftly stepped in and flashed his police badge. "We suspect that you are involved in a case of hiring a hitman. Please come with us to the station for questioning." Knowing A Lai would deny everything, Beanie immediately presented evidence of the 10 million yuan paid to hire the killer, which left A Lai speechless. Still, she stubbornly tried to argue. "Chen Pingcan is framing me. How can you all be so blind and confused?" In the next moment, Zaw Wu revealed a photo and confirmed. The true mastermind behind the plot to murder the 2 Chen sisters is Jin Chao. This statement left everyone frozen for about 5 seconds. Beanie quickly spoke up, puzzled. "Master, are you sure? Did Jin Chao already die?" Zaw Wu remained calm and answered no. He had stepped in front of A Lai and snorted coldly. "You must know more about this than anyone, right?" When she refused to say anything, Zaw Wu had no choice but to tell a true story. Jin Chao was a police officer who had been dismissed from his position. Ironically, he was later diagnosed with terminal lymphoma. His young son had eye cancer and his family was struggling financially. He was desperate for money. Then, 3 months ago, Chen Pingguang, the chairman of Bai Shi Leg Group, fell into a coma after an accident. His younger brother, Chen Pingkan, wanted to take control of the company, so he turned to Jin Chao for help in eliminating the chairman's wife, A Lai. However, Jin Chao suggested to Chen Pingquan that instead of killing A Lai, they should target the 2 daughters of Chen Pingguang and frame A Lai for the murders. This way, they could take out multiple obstacles in one go and take over the company. After Jin Chao and Chen Pingquan made their deal, he didn't immediately go to commit the murders. Instead, he told A Lai everything about the plan. Jin Chao realized that just working with Chen Pingquan wasn't enough. The police could still track him down. If Chen Pingquan made even one mistake, the 5 million yuan would vanish into thin air. Then he came up with a new plan for A Lai. You'll follow the agreement with Chen Pingquan and take care of the 2 Chen sisters. But after that, I won't be arrested and I won't point the finger at you. Inside here is a video of my transaction with Chen Pingquan. If the police can't find any evidence against her that I've left behind, you can hand this over to them to protect yourself. If this plan works, you can eliminate Chen Pingquan, and the 2 daughters of the Chen family will have no blood relation to you. Once these obstacles are gone, you can smoothly inherit the company and the family's fortune without any suspicion from the police. I just need 10 million yuan. I promise your hands won't get a drop of blood on them. For A Lai, this was like an opportunity falling from the sky, and she had no reason to refuse. Afterward, Jin Chao exchanged the 10 million yuan for cash and hid it in a storage cabinet at the market where his wife worked. He kept the key to the cabinet in an envelope, which would be delivered next month to his wife. Jin Chao had once been a police officer and was familiar with police procedures. He knew that 3 months after the case of the Chen sisters falling from the building, it would already be forgotten. By then, no one would be watching his family closely, and no one would pay attention to a simple envelope his wife received. In this plan, Jin Chao was the one orchestrating everything. She and Chen Pingquan were working together. Without the 10 million yuan she provided him, the plan would never have been possible. When her real intentions were revealed, Lin began screaming and acting panicked. But a moment later, her expression suddenly shifted. It turned out Zaw Wu had taken out a USB. This is the one Jin Chao gave you, right? After the Chen sisters tragically died, you became the prime suspect and were questioned by the police. If they couldn't find proof of the transaction between Jin Chao and Chen Pingquan, you would have had to use this to prove your innocence. A Lai completely broke down, shouting in despair, Chen Pingguang, how could you? You'd rather give the money away than help me? How heartless. As she shouted, she tried to lunge at Chen Pingguang, but others intervened as she hit her head against a cupboard. After calming down, she confessed truthfully. The 10 million yuan from Jin Chao, I'm the one who gave it to him. I have felt trapped in this house for far too long. No one truly respects me. No one treats me as part of the family. My husband is in a coma, leaving me to deal with everything. The 2 daughters, who barely know me, insulted me the moment we met. My brother-in-law even tried to have me harmed. Has anyone ever considered how I feel? A few years ago, I met Jin Chao when he came to City B to work on a case. We crossed paths and got along, even roasted sweet potatoes together. After I gave him the money, part of me secretly wished he'd just disappear with it. Even though I don't agree with Jin Chao, Chen Pingquan would still send another assassin to kill me. So why shouldn't I just wait for him to send someone? Why can't I take action and hurt him first? If it were you, what would you do? She kept laughing like a madwoman. Mr. Chen, are you satisfied now? Now you're truly ruined. Your daughter is dead, and now you're going to die too. Your brother and wife are in prison. What good is all that money? Stepping outside, Beanie couldn't stop talking. Master, this Jin Chao guy is really something. He came up with such a complex plan. If he hadn't been dismissed in the first place, he would have definitely become an elite cop, just like you. Meanwhile, Zaw Wu remained calm like a wise elder. Back in the day when we were on the streets, we had a saying, if your heart is crooked, everything you do will be crooked. If your heart is upright, everything you do will be right. No matter how many obstacles you face, you should never let that be an excuse to kill someone. Take this evidence back to the station. But Beanie still had her doubts. This USB belongs to Jin Chao, so why didn't A Lai collapse and confess as soon as she saw it? From what I gather, Jin Chao must have left a video for his wife showing Chen Pingquan hired him to be the murderer. The evidence is stored on a USB drive. So could the one you gave to A Lai also be the same kind of USB? This was just to scare A Lai a little, to make her believe that I found the USB she hid. I never expected I'd guess it right. When Beanie heard this, her eyes lit up and she exclaimed, Master, I'm really amazed by you. To come up with such a clever trick like that, it's brilliant. This is also a way to break through allies' psychological defenses, right? Zaw Wu, once again in his wise master mode, started explaining, though whether the trick was bold or not, he didn't seem to care. My plan might not be entirely above board, but if Ai truly has a clear conscience, then what's the point in breaking the apple tree? So, the thing is, we won't let a bad person off the hook, but we also won't wrong an innocent one. This principle is the real line in the sand for us as police officers. Fast forward to the evening, Zaw Wu had just finished his workout when his younger brother, well, you get the idea. He thought about Ying Ji and the time they roasted sweet potatoes together. Just as he was about to reach for some toilet paper, the doorbell suddenly rang. When he opened the door, Ying Ji's face appeared in front of him. Before Zaw Wu could say anything, she immediately jumped on him, showering him with kisses. In the living room, it still wasn't enough. The two of them continued roasting sweet potatoes in the bathroom, then moved on to the bedroom. The storm raged on all night, with wind, rain, and constant thunder and lightning. Yet the two of them calmly kept setting off fireworks, never stopping. I hope you don't think too much of it when you watch the video. In the blink of an eye, morning came. Zaw Wu opened his eyes and found Ying Ji was nowhere to be seen. But as he thought back to the sweet potato roasting with her last night, he found himself tearing up from sheer happiness. Suddenly, Zaw Wu noticed something and picked it up. It was a sleeping pill. Something felt off. In a hurry, he ran outside, looked around, and spotted two phones on the table. When he opened the contacts, he saw no phone numbers at all. After a moment of checking thoroughly, the phone was left with only one video. He played it, and it showed Ying Ji's silhouette, accompanied by a painful message. Zaw Wu, I'm leaving. Forget about me. I'm sorry. I can't keep helping you with those unsolved cases anymore. Promise me. Live well. Zaw Wu couldn't stay calm anymore. His mind was flooded with questions. Why are the photos of me and her gone from my phone? Why isn't her account showing up on WeChat? Why has everything related to her been deleted? What exactly happened? Why would someone do this? Why did she leave me? Unable to wait another second, Zaw Wu rushed straight to Sub-Bureau R and asked Zhang Jingfeng to track Ying Ji's location. But to his shock, the system showed nothing. Ying Ji could be found. Someone had completely erased her information. Neither the internal database nor any external networks could pull up anything about her. If someone managed to break into both our phones and computers just to delete Captain Miao's data, we're in serious trouble. Only a government-level force could carry out a targeted data wipe this large in such a short time. A subordinate immediately called out, Officer Zhao, I'll report this to Director Luan right away. We'll need to get the government involved to help us find her. Good. I'll head to City Bureau now to check the records. I'm leaving this to you. Ying Ji might be in serious danger. We need to find her fast. Right after, Zaw Wu called Zhang Zai-chun. Xiao Zhang, Ying Ji was transferred from Sub-Bureau U. Do you still have any of her records? Could you please ask the director for me? After that, Zaw Wu called Director Liu again to ask for help. Then suddenly he remembered something Ying Ji once said, that she lived on the 6th floor, the 4th window from the left. 5 minutes later, he was at that apartment knocking on the door, but all he got in return was an eerie silence. A young man from the neighboring unit heard the noise and stepped out. Zaw Wu immediately shoved his badge and asked about the owner of the apartment. But the answer left him stunned. Nobody lives there. No one's been in that place for at least 10 years. Zaw Wu went back to look for Director Liu. Not only did Liu refuse to help, he even criticized him. You two were together for so long, and you still don't even know where she lives. Well, what about all of you? Ying Ji got promoted to team captain, and only now your department realizes there's no personnel file on her. What is she? A ghost? How did she even transfer from Division U to our division? Director Liu looked helpless. Back then, I was still working down there. All I knew was that everyone kept saying Ying Ji had someone powerful backing her. So powerful, it was terrifying. We were all told to never cross her. I even asked Director Hong just now. He said the transfer order came directly from the provincial level. It had to be carried out immediately. He's a city-level director. He didn't dare go against it either. This comment made Zaw Wu a little suspicious. Could she really be working as a spy? No way. Her mom cares about her so much. How could she possibly let her do something that dangerous? Zaw Wu spoke up again, Mr. Liu. Isn't Ying Ji's mother pretty influential? Like, doesn't she have the power to change personnel in the police department easily? Chief Liu immediately dismissed the idea. This isn't some feudal society where one person gets to make all the decisions. Ying Ji didn't disappear without a reason. The fact that she said goodbye to you shows she was going through something. Any changes in personnel go through strict procedures and regulations. No matter how powerful someone might be, I want to stress this again. Ying Ji didn't vanish without reason. She said goodbye to you, which means she had her reasons. The kind of power it takes to erase someone's file can only come from the government. At the very least, it proves that Ying Ji is safe. The government wants to protect her. If you make too much noise about this, it could actually put her at risk. Later, when Zaw Wu went to Branch U, Chief Liang handed him a piece of paper and confirmed it was the address of the former City Bureau official who had recommended Ying Ji for the job there. After a quick and somewhat awkward thank you, Zaw Wu hurried outside and ran into Beanie and Jiang Zai-chun. Jiang Zai-chun asked him to check the dashcam footage from Ying Ji's car, but Zaw Wu had already done that. The memory card from the dashcam had been removed earlier by someone. Beanie continued, "Let's go check the surveillance cameras. After all, Captain Mio has lived here for a long time. It shouldn't be too hard to find out where her house is." Just as the three of them were about to start the investigation, someone up ahead suddenly shouted, "Damn it! I didn't see you all for arresting the wrong guy and slandering me. Consider that me going easy on you. Now hurry up and take these cups off me. By the way, this little lady's pretty cute. Want to come roast sweet potatoes with me? I've got loads of money." Before he could finish, Jiang Zai-chun stepped up and snapped, "Shameless. They uncuffed you, so get lost already. Don't think we don't know how you slipped out of this one. Sooner or later, you'll end up in our hands. Just wait." The man stayed calm and sneered, trying to scare me. "Got any proof? If you had proof, why'd you let me go? I've slept with tons of female cops, just flashed some cash, and they're all dying to take their clothes off. And you, girl, don't think that uniform makes you something special." Before he could finish his disgusting rant, Zaw Wu landed a thunderous slap across his face. Even the two pearls were stunned. This idiot, he was seriously asking for it. Then came only the sounds of punches and kicks, grunts echoing from the restroom. Outside, people took turns whispering. "What's going on?" Officer Zhao dragged young Master Chu from the Q family in Donghai into the bathroom. Good. That guy has manipulated so many girls. One of them even tried to take her own life with poison, barely survived. Somehow, he either paid them off or threatened them, and they all suddenly changed their statements and dropped the charges. That's a crime. Someone could have died. Should we stop him? Stop him. Are you crazy? Go to the surveillance room and delete the footage. If anyone asks later, just say there was a technical error. Inside the restroom, after taking a brutal beating, he finally confessed. "I used flutotrazepam. I drugged 6 girls in total. It was all me." Immediately, the other officers rushed in, ready to arrest him. But what they saw was him slumped over the toilet, unconscious, his head dunked in the bowl. Meanwhile, Beanie was quietly bandaging Zaw Wu's wounds, thinking to herself, his master must be upset because Captain Miao went missing. That's why he's in such a dark place right now. Tears rolled down Beanie's cheeks as she softly whispered, "Master, good people always get what they deserve. Captain Miao will be okay. You'll find her soon. I just know it." After that, Zaw Wu went to see his former superior at the city bureau, but the nurse told him that the old man had been suffering from Alzheimer's for years. He no longer remembered anything about Captain Miao. Once again, everything hit a dead end. Zaw Wu felt frustrated, but didn't know what else to do. It was clear that the location of the new system event was here, but how was he supposed to find her? Damn. Why was it that none of the system tools would help right now? Then, just as expected, the system-triggered encounter appeared. As soon as Tao Jia saw him, she called out, "Officer Zhao, what happened to your hand? Let me take a look." Zaw Wu quickly replied, "No need. I've got something to take care of." But before he could finish, Tao Jia suddenly blushed and spoke with a hint of sarcasm. "I tried calling you a few days ago, but you never picked up. Have you been that busy lately?" Just as she finished speaking, shouting erupted behind them. "You bastard! You can't even give an injection properly. You are my girlfriend. Do you even know who we are?" Tao Jia wasn't one to stay silent. She immediately yelled back, "What do you think you're doing? We don't care who you are. Our nurse is pregnant and you just hit her without a second thought. If anything happens to her, you'll have to face legal consequences." "Oh, now you're talking about legal responsibility? Fine. Let's see you make me take responsibility then." As he spoke, the man lunged forward, ready to slap Tao Jia. But Zhao Wu wasn't about to stand by and watch. He grabbed the guy's wrist and snapped, "You bastard. What is this? Did the system set all this up just to give me something to take my anger out on? What kind of day is today anyway? Why are so many idiots showing up like they've got a death wish? Do they think I'm society's garbage collector or something? I was pinned down so hard I couldn't even move. And yet, that guy kept running his mouth, cursing, even threatening to call people to take care of Zaw Wu. But exactly 10 minutes later, everyone he called was beaten so badly by Zaw Wu, their own families wouldn't recognize them. Only then did he realize what he was dealing with. He kept apologizing over and over, swearing he'd never make the same mistake again. Still, the fortune encounter system completed its mission, reaching 183% progress. 5 new items were unlocked: an invisible microscope, an invisible stink bomb, an invisible springboard, a tooth regenerator, and an emergency alert device. Back at Division R, Deputy Chief Luan was fuming. He said, "The suspect we were after only committed assault, but with how badly you beat him, how am I supposed to clean this mess up? I know you're still torn up about Ying Ji, but she's been missing for a long time. You can't keep living like this, fighting every day like it's all you know. Lately, I've gotten more complaints than I've seen in my entire career. I can't take it anymore. You need to take a leave of absence. Go home and think seriously about what you've done." As Zaw Wu stepped out the door, the system notified him of another fortune encounter, this time at Whale Plaza, 4 kilometers away, in 15 minutes. Could this one be related to her? Before he could finish the thought, 3 high-ranking officials arrived. Because there wasn't much time, Zaw Wu forced the 3 people into the car. Before they even had a chance to get angry, he stepped on the gas and sped straight toward the plaza. When they arrived at Whale Plaza, Zaw Wu looked around and saw a huge crowd. His mind started racing. It had to be something about her. Was it a bomb or some kind of terrorist attack? While he was still panicking and unsure of what to do, Beanie suddenly appeared and called out, "Master, why are you here? Did you get my call to come too?" Zaw Wu was stunned. "What's going on? What are you all doing here?" Beanie replied, "Here's the thing. My classmates and I from the police academy are helping Sin Seo Ru with a charity fundraiser." Zaw Wu frowned in confusion. Sin Seo Ru? Isn't she Jin Chao's wife? Wasn't Jin Chao a murderer? Beanie explained, yes, Jin Chao was a murderer, and that's exactly why we should care even more about his widow and child. His son didn't do anything wrong. Jin Chao's second son has eye cancer. Now that Jin Chao is gone, their lives are even harder. His death was already a tragedy. If we turn our backs on his family now, it could lead to even bigger tragedies down the line. That's how more crimes can end up happening. When Zaw Wu heard this, he immediately understood why he never felt happy after solving a case. It was because, deep down, what he truly wished for was that the crimes had never happened in the first place. If someone had cared more about Lai Dan, the hand-chopping incident wouldn't have happened. If someone had helped Fang Yu deal with his emotions, the bank robbery could have been prevented. If Ku Xin Yang had faced his grief after losing his mother and stepped out of the darkness, the case involving the stored corpse might never have occurred. Suddenly, Director Liao walked over and called out to Zaw Wu. "Today, we asked you here to share some important news. Your application to become a special investigator has been approved. This is your official acceptance notice." As soon as he heard the words special investigator, Zaw Wu was reminded of the time they roasted sweet potatoes during a break. Ying Ji had asked him about a notebook. In that relaxed moment, Zaw Wu had honestly told her everything. Mr. Kim had given him the notebook, which contained records of particularly serious cases and unsolved cold cases he had worked on back when he was a special investigator. After flipping through it, Ying Ji said, "I think if we ever get the chance to investigate these 5 especially serious cases, we should start with the headless corpse." "Why that one?" "Because these cases happened a long time ago. Back then, DNA technology wasn't widely used. The victim's head was missing and their fingerprints were cut off, making the case extremely difficult to solve. But things are different now. With DNA, we can easily confirm the identity of the victim. Still, the last time the body was seen was 19 years ago. There's a chance the killer might have died a long time ago too. It's exactly because the suspect might already be dead that we have to investigate this case first. If we wait any longer, the clues will only disappear. The truth will be buried forever for those who've died. How unfair is that to them?" "We're on the same page then. If we get the chance, we'll start with this case. Honestly, you've solved so many major cases by now. You should qualify to be a special investigator. Why don't you talk to Director Liao, ask him to support your application and help reopen this cold case? Maybe we can uncover the truth and finally get justice for the victims." Hearing that, Zaw Wu smirked and agreed. He said he'd call the director tomorrow. But right now, there was another truth he wanted to uncover. "What material is your pajama set made of? Take it off and let me check." And just like that, the two of them went back to roasting sweet potatoes together. Back in the present, Zaw Wu stood frozen when Director Hong called out to him. "You brat, your girlfriend leaving isn't the end of the world. What's the big deal? Pull yourself together and keep moving forward." Director Liao chimed in as well. "I've pulled every string I could to help you. The fact that all traces of Ying Ji's family life were erased must be part of some government protection strategy." Becoming a special investigator was a great opportunity to get involved in something like this. When Zaw Wu heard the news, he gripped the paper tightly. "I'll go. Don't worry, everyone. I'll definitely pass the selection test. This special investigator position, there's no way I'm letting it slip by." Suddenly, Beanie ran over, called out to her master, and pulled Zaw Wu over to her group of classmates. This is my master, the famous officer Zaw Wu. You know who solved the Yunlin case. You know who found the treasure with the 12 golden Buddha statues. It was him. At the same time, the adventure system registered completion with a 130% success rate. Zaw Wu received a set of special items, an invisible voice changer, an energy booster, an invisible camera, an invisible X-ray device, and a universal lock-picking tool. On the way to City B for the special investigator exam, Zaw Wu drove while thinking to himself, is this adventure side mission taking place at the highway service area? When he arrived at the service area under City B's jurisdiction, Zaw Wu waited for quite a while, but nothing unusual happened. Just as he started to wonder, something caught his eye. A woman stepped out of her car, and Zaw Wu suddenly felt a bit confused. Could she be the one who triggers the mission? Before he could approach her, a group of thugs started harassing her. Hey, lady, look at what your car did. Scratched ours all over. She immediately denied it. It wasn't me who scratched your car. I just pulled in and didn't even touch your vehicle. But of course, the group of thugs wouldn't let it go that easily. One of them said, take a look for yourself. There's green paint from my car on your bumper. My car is brand new. You'll have to pay for the damage. Zaw Wu really didn't want to get involved in this mess, but he had already racked up over 460 encounter points and was close to leveling up, so he decided to step in. Seeing how things were going, the woman quickly realized what was happening and said, you're clearly trying to scam me, then pulled out her phone to call the police. But the thug wasn't the least bit afraid. He even taunted her, go ahead, call them. Let's see whose side they'll take when they get here. She didn't know what to do when Zaw Wu calmly stepped forward and said, calling the police won't help. He went on until you see that your parking spot is in a camera blind spot. When the police see the scratch, they'll believe their story. And from this angle, your dashcam won't have caught the impact either. These guys planned this. They picked this exact spot knowing the camera wouldn't catch what really happened. I bet their car was actually hit by another white car earlier, and now they're looking for another white car to blame. The thug, feeling his nerves hit, snapped back with a curse. You little bastard, what are you talking about? What are we even supposed to be apologizing for? Zaw Wu stayed calm, pulling out his police ID and saying, I've been keeping an eye on you for a while. Did you know that? My police car is parked right across from the restroom. Want me to pull up the surveillance footage to show you? At the mention of police, the thug's face turned pale with fear. There's surveillance here too, he asked, his voice tinged with worry. Zaw Wu seized the moment and pressed further. Or should I send someone to check if the two scratches on the cars match up? The thug started sweating buckets, both literally and figuratively. He rushed over, wiped down the girl's car, and started apologizing frantically. I messed up, okay? The paint scratch was just an accident. The car was rented, and I was scared I couldn't pay for the damage, so I came up with this stupid excuse, he admitted, sounding genuinely regretful. With that, they quickly jumped in their car and drove off, leaving Zaw Wu muttering a few choice words in frustration. As Zaw Wu was about to leave, the girl suddenly called him back. What precinct do you work for? I want to thank you properly. Zaw Wu immediately declined, saying, it's nothing really. It's just part of the job, like having 3 meals a day. No need to make a big deal out of it. I've got somewhere to be, so I'll have to go now. Cut to the special task force interview scene, where it was finally Zaw Wu's turn. As he walked in, the 3 interviewers hit him with a question. While you were waiting for your interview, there was someone sitting on the bench in the southeast corner wearing a red scarf. Can you describe their appearance? Zaw Wu was left speechless after hearing that. Who would pay attention to something like that? This test was way too sudden. After 5 seconds of thinking, he immediately used the memory rewind item and angrily cursed. Son of a bitch. Southeast corner, what the hell? It's clearly the southwest corner. Who do you think you're fooling? Then he confidently continued. It's a middle-aged man wearing a brown coat, around 50 years old, with curly hair, thick eyebrows, big eyes, and a mole at the top of his nose. The judges broke into a cold sweat after hearing that, then coughed and praised him. Your observation and memory skills are truly outstanding. Next, we'll move on to some simple logic analysis questions. Please look at the screen. As soon as the video ended, Zaw Wu immediately gave his answers. Question 1. The fat person is the sister, and the thin one is the younger sister. Question 2. The culprit is C, because out of the 4 suspects, only C doesn't know how to play chess, and the folded paper from the victim shows that the murderer is someone who doesn't know how to play chess. The weapon was a book that he borrowed from the library. Question 3. If the murderer really wanted to kill someone, why would they turn on the car lights? Clearly, they were trying to play the seduction game. After the judges heard the question, they were stunned for a second. Then they coughed awkwardly before wrapping things up. Final question. Among the 3 of us judges, one is an imposter. Can you tell me who that imposter is? Zaw Wu's mind started racing. Was there a clue she left behind when she asked that question? Before entering the meeting room, it was a female guide. Could she be the real judge? Or maybe one of the two male judges outside had something to do with it. The projection screen behind him was too bright to clearly make out anyone's face. Based on just the outlines, he couldn't match it with anyone he remembered. As he thought about this, Zaw Wu quickly used the system's tool to turn off the lights. Before the three judges could recover from their surprise, he turned the flashlight back on and blurted out, "Oh shit, are you guys kidding me? There's no imposter among the judges." Stepping out of the exam room, Zaw Wu found a quiet corner to sit, but to his surprise, the other candidates from earlier were chatting away like a busy marketplace. "I think the culprit is in C." "Really? Well, maybe I answered wrong then." It's okay. I was just guessing too." After listening for a while, Zaw Wu realized that their questions seemed pretty normal. Was it only his question that was so strange? Then the door to the room opened and the two judges spoke up to confirm. "The results are in. The 5 candidates with the highest scores from today's interview will be directly hired. For those not called, don't be discouraged. We will have another round of recruitment next year. Thank you all for your participation." 5th place, Fang Lin from City Z with 91 points. 4th place, Chai Bin from City L. 3rd place, Zhang Bin from City C. 2nd place, Chen Cheng from City T. And in 1st place, Zaw Wu from City Q with 95 points. Zaw Wu immediately jumped up like a crazy person. Everyone around him was a little surprised. No way. Someone that young, already becoming a special investigator, even a team leader at that. In the midst of his excitement, Zaw Wu spotted the woman who had interviewed him earlier. He quickly followed her, determined to ask her why she had given him such a twisted question. At the HR office, as soon as Zaw Wu reached the door, he overheard a conversation. "Professor Wang, what the hell are you doing? Didn't I specifically tell you not to let Zaw Wu pass this round? He's still young. He has plenty of opportunities ahead of him." Meanwhile, those older detectives have been waiting their whole lives for this. The girl immediately responded, "We followed your instructions and gave him questions that no one else could solve. But he's too talented. He made it through without any trouble. Plus, there's a camera recording everything, so there's no way to fake it. Dean Yang is the special investigation team supposed to be created for better criminal investigations. The people with the skills are in the higher positions, so they should be given the opportunity, right? You can't just protect your reputation forever like this." But Dean Yang remained stubborn and immediately walked into another room, calling, "Xiao Zhao, come out here and let's talk for a bit." Inside the bathroom, the two were discussing something. "Can you get in touch with the psychological evaluation team to find out who's in charge? If Zaw Wu's report isn't up to standard, I'll request a replacement right away. This needs to be done quickly. We need to deal with Zaw Wu before the investigation team is set up." However, Zaw Wu overheard everything. After cracking open the door, he quickly turned around and silently dropped a bombshell. While they were still talking, Dean Yang suddenly smelled something and then all you could hear were screams from inside the room. Zaw Wu, standing outside, wasn't going to let them get away. He blocked the door, preventing them from escaping, and the scene shifted to the police station's conference room. At that moment, a sharp-headed guy was saying something. "Hello, Team Leader Zhao, I'm Chen Zhou, the liaison for Team 521. If you have any orders, just let me know and I'll take care of it. I have the team members' files here. Our team is really short on forensic experts, so if you need one, we can temporarily borrow one from the local office. The team has this privilege." According to Zaw Wu, each team has 5 types of members. The experienced team leader who oversees operations, a computer expert skilled in gathering information, a forensic specialist good at collecting evidence and performing autopsies, a logistics officer skilled in arrests, and a criminal psychology expert. The special investigation team not only has a strong reputation, but also holds more authority than regular police units. Each team has specific responsibilities. Some focus on urgent cases, others handle unresolved cold cases, some specialize in wrongful convictions, and there are many other tasks they take on. Before Zaw Wu could finish his thoughts, a gray-haired man walked up. "Hello, team leader. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ran Tao, and I'm here to check in with the team. But, do you remember me? We just met in the bathroom a while ago." Zaw Wu immediately recalled the scene in the bathroom. While the other two were still shouting, Ran Tao had walked out of the next stall, smiling brightly. Since it was a happy moment, Zaw Wu shook his hand and laughed, as if they were longtime friends. Soon after, a man named Zheng Qi walked in and introduced himself as the one in charge of gathering intelligence and also the team's computer expert. Before he could finish speaking, a woman rushed in, looking quite flustered. She quickly introduced herself as Wu Xiu Min, here to join the team as the criminal psychology expert. Seeing her, Ran Tao was curious. What's going on with her? Did she spill food on herself at the cafeteria or something? Zheng Qi, however, gave a more professional analysis. Clearly, she's covered in mud. Recently, the only place with mud around here is the area under construction near the lawn. Did she fall there? But Wu Xiumin wanted to hear Zaw Wu's analysis. So the next moment, Zaw Wu immediately gave his prediction. Her clothes are torn because they were ripped and her hair shows signs of being grabbed. She must have fought with someone. Also, the mud on her clothes isn't a large patch, but more like it was splattered. So she probably walked past the area where the grass was being repaired and a car drove by, splashing mud onto her. Then she got into a fight with the female driver, right? When Wu Xiumin heard this, her eyes lit up and she felt a deep admiration, but still asked Zaw Wu to continue analyzing. Zaw Wu quickly leaned closer to her, whispering, I know a lot more, like how you're still not married. Your blood type is O, you're a Scorpio, and you wear contact lenses. This statement left Wu Xiumin frozen for a few seconds before she asked, how do you know all of that? Well, it's simple. I have your resume in my hands. He smirked. Just kidding. My name is Zaw Wu, and welcome to the team. Oh, so you're the team leader? My bad, my bad. But our team leader definitely has connections in the criminal department. The two of them were curious. Why? Because up until now, there's never been a team leader this young in the special team. I've taken the test a few times myself. The team leaders who got chosen were all old men who were about to kick the bucket. Zaw Wu immediately countered, I swear on my honor, I got this position as team leader based purely on my own abilities. Suddenly, a man with a buffalo horn-shaped hairstyle walked in. The moment Chen Zhou saw him, he immediately recognized him as Director Niu. It turned out that he was the brother-in-law of Director Liu. As soon as he walked in, he started showering Zaw Wu with compliments. But that wasn't all. Just then, another person wearing glasses entered. So, this is the sister that Zaw Wu helped earlier this morning. She stepped in and continued praising Zaw Wu, not forgetting to thank him for what he did earlier that day. At this point, Zaw Wu was left feeling helpless. Even if he jumped into a river now, he wouldn't be able to clear this misunderstanding. But not only was there no misunderstanding, the woman was talking to him as if they were sisters, which left both Director Niu and Chen Zhou completely confused. As a result, the system's encounter mission was completed. The completion progress reached 109% and Zaw Wu received a stealth bomb disposal device. The scene transitioned to the city police station. At this moment, the police chief was speaking. This is your office, Officer Zhao. Your accommodation has been arranged and the special team has come to investigate the case. Whether it's forensics, appraisals, missing persons, or firearms management, whatever you need, we will fully support your assignments. After finishing the announcement, the two of them left. After a while of enjoying what they had, the four of them shifted their focus back to work. The first case they wanted to solve was the headless female corpse case. Zhang Qi wasn't too happy about this. As far as I know, investigating cold cases is one of the most pointless and exhausting tasks. Wu Xiumin agreed with this view. People in the criminal department call the teams working on these cases the Suicide Squad. If they can't crack the case, it's only a matter of time before they're disbanded. But Zaw Wu didn't see it that way. He laughed, clearly pleased with himself. Finally, I get to officially investigate those national-level cold cases listed in the golden-binded casebook. Then he remembered his promise to Ying Ji, reassuring himself that everything would have an answer soon. Fast forward to 11 p.m. at the hotel where the special team was staying. Zaw Wu was on the phone with Beanie. She was really upset about him leaving without a word. I was just about to start learning from you, Master, and now you've suddenly run off to become a special investigator. What am I supposed to do now? Zaw Wu, feeling helpless, could only offer the excuse that he had to investigate a new case before hanging up abruptly. As soon as he ended the call, there was a knock at the door. When he opened it, Wu Xiumin stood there, looking like she was ready to explode. Without saying a word, she stormed into the room and demanded that he handle a person named Ran Tao. What did he do to you? From the moment we had dinner until now, he hasn't stopped bothering me, either calling me or saying inappropriate things. Just a while ago, he even knocked on my door. How can there be people this shameless in this world? After hearing this, Zaw Wu couldn't help but mutter a curse. Damn. The rabbit doesn't eat grass near its burrow, but Ran Tao is taking things too far. He then walked over, put his arm around her and said, Wu Xiumin, I have a great idea to deal with people like him. Tonight you should sleep in my room. Seeing that Wu Xiumin seemed to be considering it, Zaw Wu pushed forward, as long as we're in bed together, Ran Tao won't dare do anything to you. Am I wrong? But Wu Xiumin's answer was a firm no, and then you'll complain that all men are the same. I've clearly picked the wrong boat to board. This was exactly what Zaw Wu had hoped for. Even though Ran Tao was in the wrong, she wanted to get rid of him. There must be many ways to do it. Why are you running to me? I'm the team leader, not a babysitter. Just as he was feeling pleased, he got a call. Chen Zhou immediately informed him, I've just received a notice from the higher-ups. There's an emergency and City B Team 521 is required to assemble and head there immediately. Flashback to 8 p.m. in the City Beat Park. A man was jogging down the street when suddenly a sledgehammer came crashing down on his head. I'm afraid he's not dead yet. The killer probably hit him a few more times to make sure. According to the police investigation, the back of the victim's head was struck at least 6 times. Based on the shape of the wounds, it's believed that a large hammer was used. The second victim, Luke Seo Hong, worked in the laboratory at the pharmaceutical factory. After finishing his night shift, he was burned to death by arson while napping in his apartment. Yesterday morning, the third victim, Zhang Kai Bin, arrived at the office first to urgently work on testing a batch of medicine, and he died from poisoning. Someone had mixed ammonium nitrate into the box of tea that he habitually drank in the morning. Prior to these incidents, the pharmaceutical factory's management received an anonymous letter with a threat. If they didn't pay 5 million yuan, the killer would murder one employee each day. The factory management thought it was just a cruel joke until the first body was found. We believe the killer is very familiar with the victim's daily routines and the factory's working schedule. It's also likely that the person is either a current or former employee of the pharmaceutical company. Before we finish discussing, one of the subordinates called out in shock to the team leader. The pharmaceutical factory's board of directors just received a message from the killer demanding that at 2 p.m. the money be placed in the trash bin by the escalator in the commercial building. Returning to the surveillance room, Zaw Wu was looking for clues when Ran Tao suddenly ran in and called out, Captain Liu Nian has already taken the team to set up an ambush at the commercial building. Are we going? Zaw Wu immediately responded, no meat. The police won't get anything from the ransom exchange this time. His words only made Wu Xiumin more curious, forcing Zaw Wu to explain further. The killer planned everything carefully. They wouldn't choose such a loud, central location to make the exchange. 3 people are dead, so each of you should investigate one of the cases. Zhang Qi volunteered to investigate the poisoning case from the tea. Wu Xiumin stepped forward to look into the woman who was burned alive, as she was the only female victim. Then, Wu Xiumin turned to taunt Ran Tao. What about you? Why didn't you speak up at a critical moment, scared of losing? Ran Tao confidently replied, I'll investigate the case of the person who was bludgeoned with a hammer so you can see my skills. If you solve your case before I do, I'll follow you for life. When Zaw Wu was left alone, his mind kept racing. Each victim's murder had been carefully planned. This wasn't the work of one person. It was likely a gang. After more than 30 minutes, everyone had finished setting up everything. The pharmaceutical factory staff had also thrown 5 million yuan into the trash. Now it was just a matter of waiting for the culprit to show up, and then they could arrest him immediately. But unexpectedly, a guy with long hair suddenly walked up and tossed a lit lighter into the trash, which startled Zaw Wu a little. Are you going to burn all the money? Back at the precinct, the chief was furious, clearly feeling like he'd been played. Another colleague added some more information. The trash bin was coated with a flammable catalyst, so when the lighter was thrown in, the fire immediately flared up. The 5 million yuan is basically gone. Also, it looks like someone tampered with the fire extinguisher near the trash bin. It was completely empty. We had to bring one from another floor and put out the fire. What about the homeless guy? He really was homeless and has some mental issues. He said someone gave him a lighter and 500 yuan to do it, and he thought it was just a prank. The chief became even more worried after hearing this, realizing that the money burning was clearly an act of revenge. This culprit must hate the pharmaceutical factory to the core. If things continue like this, there's going to be a 4th victim. But Zaw Wu had a different thought. This case was too carefully planned. The criminal must have known the factory's internal rules and information, understood the victim's daily habits, and designed the plan to burn the 5 million yuan. They also sent a precise blackmail message to the senior staff at the pharmaceutical factory. Could it be that the group we're up against is a high-tech criminal gang like Zhao King's? At this moment, the system sent a new notification, telling Zaw Wu to go to the psychiatric hospital at midnight and wait for 30 minutes at the base of a wall. Zaw Wu, still confused and not sure what was going on, noticed something out of the corner of his eye. It turned out that on the upper floor, a girl was climbing down like Spider-Man. As soon as her feet hit the ground, Zaw Wu immediately approached her from behind. Before Zaw Wu could even greet her, the girl quickly kicked off the ground and ran toward the wall. With a quick shot from a grappling hook, she managed to fly over a wall more than 3 meters high. But Zaw Wu wasn't about to let her get away. He immediately activated his cloaking jump device. As he floated in midair, he realized he wouldn't be able to land safely from this height. Luckily, when he was about a meter from the ground, the system automatically activated the cushioning feature. However, since the girl was standing right in front of him, Zaw Wu ended up crashing directly into her. The girl, reacting instinctively, kicked him off, but Zaw Wu wasn't someone to back down easily. He quickly grabbed her leg and pulled it up. Just as he was about to explain himself, the girl suddenly punched him in the groin, causing his expression to twist in pain. He thought she might escape, but unexpectedly, Zaw Wu was still determined and swung his hand out to grab her bag. But because the pull was too strong, the bag's strap immediately snapped. What fell out were pill bottles, which surprised Zaw Wu a bit. Without thinking twice, Zaw Wu quickly chased after the girl, staying right on her heels. The girl jumped over a wall, and Zaw Wu kept following her. But suddenly she froze, as if scared of something. Zaw Wu thought she had realized she needed to turn back, but in the next moment, he saw two barking German shepherds showing their teeth. He quickly shouted, "Stay still. If you run, they'll chase you and bite you." But the girl refused to listen. She immediately ran off, leaving Zaw Wu to face the danger. It wasn't until she couldn't run anymore that she begged, "Please help me jump over the wall." Zaw Wu wasn't stupid. He wasn't going to help her over the wall just to let the dogs bite him. Seeing the situation getting worse, he quickly pulled out his hidden perfume spray. Once sprayed on, it would make him smell like a pig that hadn't bathed in 3 days, which would make wild animals stay away. And just as expected, when the dogs caught the scent, they immediately started yelping, and even Zaw Wu couldn't stand the smell, let alone the dogs. Seeing the girl about to be bitten by the other dog, Zaw Wu rushed over and hugged her tightly. The dog, smelling him, yelped and ran straight into the forest. Instead of thanking him, the girl turned around and yelled at him, "What kind of person are you? How dare you hug me? Do you want to kill me with that disgusting smell?" Seeing that Zaw Wu had let his guard down, the girl immediately kicked her legs and ran straight into the forest. But this time, Zaw Wu didn't chase her. Instead, he returned to his car. Earlier, during their physical encounter, Zaw Wu had quickly placed a hidden camera on her, so now he could just sit back and watch what she would do next. The first thing she did when she got home was strip off all of her clothes and rush straight into the bathroom. That's when Zaw Wu got to enjoy a scene titled "The Stream Below the Rolling Hills." But just as she finished her shower, a group of people barged into her room. The girl quickly jumped out the window. However, one of the men was faster, grabbing her arm and slapping her so hard that it made her spit out some saliva. Once she finally settled down, he started cursing at her. "You bastard, you really have a death wish. I need to see Second Master. I'll explain everything to him myself." That wasn't me. But he didn't believe her and added that Second Master had already gone into the stone house and her support was gone. He told her, "If you want to stay alive, you better hand over the goods now, or don't blame me for not being polite." When the girl stubbornly refused to hand over the goods, he ordered his underlings to check her belongings. "Didn't you guys always want to see Kuai Liju's body? Now's your chance." As soon as the underlings heard this, they rushed forward, but suddenly, they caught a strange smell. Then one person was about to go outside to see what was going on, but the door slammed right in their face. Zaw Wu confidently stepped in afterward. After confirming he was a cop, he immediately reached into his pocket, which made the thugs panic. They quickly turned and ran, thinking he was pulling out a gun, but what Zaw Wu pulled out was just a lighter. He couldn't even understand why they were so scared. When the girl realized he was a cop, she immediately got scared and tried to run away. But Zaw Wu wasn't about to let that happen. He quickly ran over and grabbed her by the shirt. However, the force was too strong, and her shirt tore in half. Luckily, it still covered her sensitive areas, or else I would have already had my hand in my pocket. Despite this, the girl didn't give up. After grabbing the curtain in her hand, she tried to jump out the window to escape, but Zaw Wu caught her by the leg, flipping her upside down with her butt in the air. Just when it seemed like it was over, the girl turned into a wild animal, biting Zaw Wu's leg. What was even more surprising was that Zaw Wu wasn't her at all, but the girl started vomiting like a fire hose. It turns out the disgusting smell on him was too much for her to handle. At that moment, Zaw Wu realized the thugs had run off earlier because of that same awful smell. But if they found out it was just him alone, they would definitely come back. Knowing danger was close, Zaw Wu quickly picked up the girl like a sack of rice and rushed to a nearby hotel to rent a room. To avoid any misunderstandings, Zaw Wu made it clear that he was only there to take a shower and had no intention toward her. But the girl didn't believe him. She thought he was a pervert and even threatened to call the police if he tried to escape. Her words made Zaw Wu angry. "If I had bad intentions toward you, do you really think you'd still be sitting here talking to me? But I'm really curious about something," he continued. "Why did you sneak into the mental hospital in the middle of the night to steal medicine?" The girl immediately switched to full-on acting mode. "My mom has a serious mental illness and needs long-term medication, but the medicine is really expensive and I just can't afford it." Suddenly, Zaw Wu demanded that she show her hand. "Do you really think I'm some rookie who doesn't know the ropes?" The girl chuckled and held up the handcuffs she was holding. "You knew about this already?" Zaw Wu, irritated, stared at her with a critical eye. "With your level, you're telling me you can't afford the medicine? let me warn you one more time. If I find out that the medicine you stole can be turned into some kind of illegal substance, your crime won't stop at theft. Seeing that the girl was still stubbornly refusing to tell the truth, Zaw Wu shifted his focus to the person named Second Master that the thugs had mentioned earlier. The girl, though, acted indifferent. Second Master is a big player in the underworld, but he's already ended up in prison. I don't know where the rumors started, but people are saying I stole diamonds from a young billionaire. Now they're constantly chasing me down for them. Clearly, someone is framing me. Zaw Wu listened to her, then replied with a simple, which made the girl excited as she called out, "Officer, do you really believe what I'm saying is true?" Zaw Wu had to explain again. Of course it's true. If you've had diamonds, would you need to sneak into a mental hospital to steal medicine? But be honest here. Does the murder case at the drug factory have anything to do with you? The girl immediately called him crazy. If I had powers like that, I wouldn't be stuck here tied up by you. Zaw Wu then went to take a shower, leaving the girl outside to wait. Bored and looking for something to do, she noticed his jacket and pulled out a hotel room key. She rushed to the door, thinking of trying to escape again. But before she could get far, Zaw Wu grabbed her by the neck, startling her into letting out a loud scream. The guy from the next room heard the noise and quickly ran over, knocking on the door and asking to check the room, suspecting a kidnapping. Realizing the situation was getting complicated, Zaw Wu quickly activated his voice-changing device and imitated the girl's voice, yelling, "You bastard, I'm having a great time with Peter. Stop interrupting my fun." The guy in the next room, hearing this, was furious, shouted a few choice words, and left immediately. Then Zaw Wu received another call. The precinct requested that he come right away because there was a new lead, and since he couldn't leave the girl behind, he had no choice but to take her along to the police station. As soon as they entered the room, Zheng Qi rushed over to report. Jiang Kai Bin had very poor grades in college and should have never been allowed to stay at the pharmaceutical factory. But now, not only was he the deputy head of the quality control department, his name also appeared on the list for new drug research and development. Wu Xiubin continued. The list also includes the names of the first victim, Pangan Kang, and the second victim, Lu Xiaohong. I feel like the killer might be targeting people based on this list. Also, the research and development of the new drug was led by a doctor named Liu Wu. However, just as the drug was about to pass inspection, he was fired by the pharmaceutical factory. The reason for his dismissal was illegal trading of research and development materials. Pangan Kang, when drunk, once said he owed Liu Wu an apology. The factory director also said that Liu Wu was adamant that he was framed. The drug was about to hit the market and he wouldn't ruin his own future. I feel like this could be important. At this point, Ran Tao suddenly noticed Kuai Liju's presence and immediately walked over, calling out, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "I'm Ran Tao. Should we add each other on WeChat?" Before he could finish, Zaw Wu angrily threw a pen straight at his head. After stroking his chin, he spoke up, analyzing the situation. "I believe the people responsible for framing Liu Wu are the ones on the list of individuals involved in the research and development of the drug. They all stand to gain something from this. Liu Wu is definitely the killer in the recent murder case at the pharmaceutical factory. He surely returned to seek revenge. Right now, anyone on that research and development list could be in danger. Tell Lai Lu Yun to bring them all to the police station." He then asked for more information about Liu Wu. Wu Xiumin quickly displayed his image on the screen. This is Liu Wu, 47 years old. He's worked at the pharmaceutical factory practically his whole life. When Kuai Liju saw Liu Wu's image, she suddenly broke into a cold sweat, startled. Zaw Wu noticed this, and a thought suddenly flashed in his mind. Could it be that she knows this person named Liu Wu? Just then, Zheng Qi spoke up to give an update. Lai Lu Yun has nearly gathered everyone on the list of research and development staff at the police station, but there's one person missing. Yi King, the head of the R&D department at the pharmaceutical factory. We can't find him. His phone's location shows he's in an area on the outskirts of the city. Lai Lu Yun and the others are heading there to check it out. I'll protect the scene for everyone to see. The first thing that caught everyone's eye was the image of a white car. Inside the car, there was a man foaming at the mouth, his face pale. After reading it, Zaw Wu immediately turned dark-faced. It seemed the killer still didn't know what fear was. Based on the initial assessment, the cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning. The killer had used drugs to put the victim into a coma, then connected a flexible tube from the car's exhaust to the trunk, and finally started the engine. Wu Xiumin continued. Earlier, Lai Lu Yun also mentioned that everyone on the list of researchers and developers of the new drug has already been interrogated. However, they know nothing about Liu Wu's situation. Aside from the 4 who are dead, they are all ordinary researchers. Whether Liu Wu stayed or left that year wouldn't have affected their interests. That's right. The situation of the 4 dead people is different from theirs. The first victim, Pang and Kang, was a student of Liu Wu. Liu Wu was fired for illegal drug sales because of Pang and Kang's accusation. Whether Liu Wu was wrongfully accused or not, he definitely hated Pang and Kang. The second victim, Luke Xiaohan, had been at the research and development department for less than a year. She was just an ordinary pharmacist. Her name shouldn't have even appeared on the list of new drug researchers. The third victim, Jiang Kai-bin, wasn't even part of Liu Wu's research and development team before. However, his name ended up on the final list and he was transferred to the quality control department as a superior, making him the one who benefited the most. These people had teamed up to harm Liu Wu, and that's why Liu Wu wanted to kill him. But Zaw Wu felt that perhaps there was a higher-up involved in the plot against Liu Wu, because it would be difficult to bring him down with just the people in the research and development department. Hearing this, Rantau suggested, we should screen all the leakers in the pharmaceutical plant to see if anyone has a grudge against Liu Wu. At that moment, Zaw Wu suddenly remembered that Kuai Leju might know Liu Wu. However, before he could think further, a colleague came over to inform him, a girl named Kuai Leju wants to see you. Zaw Wu had just sat down when the girl nervously suggested, I want to make a deal with you. Zaw Wu had already anticipated this and immediately asked, do you really know Liu Wu? Kuai Leju honestly replied, I don't know his name, but I'm sure I've met him before. And I also know for sure that he's hiding in our headquarters right now. I just want you to confirm if my Kang is really in prison and whether his situation is serious. Zaw Wu then asked about the name Ma Chang. Is he the second master you all have mentioned? Kuai Leju answered, yes, that's him. Only when I'm sure he can't get out will I be able to tell you everything. All right, that's the way things go in this world, Zaw Wu said with a confident smile before walking out. After more than 10 minutes of checking through the police's internal system, the final result Zaw Wu got was that your second master not only committed a crime, but was also stabbed and is currently being treated in the hospital. My colleague over there even told me that even if they manage to save this so-called second master, there's a 90% chance he'll end up in a vegetative state. So don't worry, the mastermind behind the theft won't be a problem for you anymore. Now, tell me when you met Liu Wu and where your hideout is. Hearing this, Kuai Leju gathered her courage and spoke up. It was 3 days ago when I first met him. I saw him again yesterday. As to the location, I have to take you there myself. It's a thieves' hideout, so even if I tell you the exact location, you won't be able to find it. By the time you get there, they'll just escape through the back alley. Zaw Wu made up his mind. Fine, but you still have my camera on you, so even if you run off, I'll be able to track you down. Then, Kuai Leju mentioned someone named Pang Yang. He's my older brother, but he's always been obsessed with my body. Now that second master isn't backing him up anymore, I'm really scared something might happen to me. The girl was so scared about what might happen to her that she asked Zaw Wu to send someone with her, so they could capture those thugs all at once. Although Zaw Wu still had some doubts about the girl, he wanted to give her a chance. If they could recruit her, solving the case would likely go much more smoothly. So, the special investigation team began to take action. Following Kuai Leju, everyone arrived at a large wholesale market. At this point, the team leader was a bit surprised that the thieves had the audacity to set up their hideout in such a busy area. However, Rantau thought this place, with its many entry and exit points, was perfect for transporting and selling stolen goods. Plus, there were exits everywhere, so if they made a move, the thieves would likely escape quickly. Kuai Leju suddenly stopped and confirmed that they couldn't go any further. They have an alarm system. If we go any closer, they'll spot us right away. Behind that door is their hideout, and most of them should be inside by now. Let's split into 2 groups, one for a direct assault, and the other, Zhao, you should follow me. There's a secret tunnel here that we need to guard. If we don't, they'll have an easy escape. Kuai Leju then continued to lead everyone to the parking garage and confirmed that this was indeed their secret passage. Seeing that Zaw Wu trusted her, Kuai Leju suggested that she be allowed to remove the handcuffs, since in her current state, it would be very easy for them to get caught later. But Zaw Wu wasn't stupid. He immediately refused, saying, "Do you think I'm a child?" just as he was about to ask how she managed to open the handcuffs in a hotel. A loud shout suddenly came from afar. "The police are here. We need to run." Without letting them finish, Zaw Wu and his colleagues rushed in, throwing punches and kicks. When Zaw Wu looked over at Kuai Leju, she had disappeared without a trace. Not wasting any more time, Zaw Wu quickly turned on the camera to check the footage. He saw Kuai Leju in a drainage pipe. However, since the camera could only record for 12 hours, it shut off soon after, and he couldn't see anything further. Worried that Kuai Leju might be in danger, Zaw Wu immediately set off to find the manhole cover. Fortunately, in under 5 minutes, he located it. As soon as he descended into the sewer, a foul, pungent smell hit him hard. After walking a bit further, he spotted Kuai Leju, but she was on the other side of a barrier. How she managed to get there, no one knew. When she saw Zaw Wu had arrived, Kuai Lai Zhu immediately teased, "You really want to know how I opened the handcuffs, don't you? Well, let me show you exactly how." She immediately cracked her knuckles and gently pulled her hand out of the handcuff. Zaw Wu, seeing this, could only stand there, gaping in shock. She can bend like that too? Just a second ago, Lai Zhao had been very focused, but in the next moment, her face suddenly changed. On the other side of the fence, Zaw Wu was pointing a gun straight at her. Yet, Kuai Lai Zhu remained calm and blew him a kiss, confidently stating, "You definitely won't dare to shoot me." With that, she ran off, leaving Zaw Wu with 1,000 questions swirling in his mind. Why did she run? Was she scared that he wouldn't keep his word, or was she involved in another crime? And what about that person, Liu Wu? He probably wasn't even here. This girl definitely knows there's a tunnel here for escape. She must have arranged for everyone to be here to block them off and help her get away. Returning to the police station, Ran Tao was furious after being tricked by Kuai Lai Zhu. The man named Pang Yong didn't even know Liu Wu. There was no connection to the thieves' den, and Liu Wu had nothing to do with it either. It was all made up by her. She just wanted to use us to wipe out Pang Yong's gang, clear her enemies, and then escape while we were busy. That being said, let's be honest, she's pretty cute and has a really great figure. Captain, did you actually see her squeeze through those narrow bars? Even if she's flexible, there's no way her chest could fit through such a tiny gap. Zaw Wu, hearing this, couldn't help but agree. It did seem impossible, considering how big she was. The scene then shifted to the police station's interrogation room, where Zaw Wu was questioning Pang Yong. Terrified, he confessed everything. About a month ago, a Chinese businessman returning from overseas bought a villa in the Hoan district. The villa even had a very expensive safe installed. We guessed the stuff inside the safe must be worth a lot, so we planned our move. But then we suddenly found out that Kuai Lai Zhu, one of my subordinates, got there first. We were furious, so we went after her to settle the score. When Zaw Wu heard this, he finally realized that the safe he was talking about was the mysterious one. He remembered it being very sturdy, so tough that even explosives couldn't break it. How could that girl have opened it so easily? After thinking this through, he continued with another question. So, what's inside the safe? But Pang Yong didn't know the answer. He assumed that no matter how valuable the contents were, they couldn't be made public. After the theft, the homeowner didn't report it to the police, and there hadn't been any rumors circulating in the community. Zaw Wu asked again, when was the safe stolen? Pang Yong replied, if I'm not mistaken, it was about 3 days ago. This made Zaw Wu feel a little disappointed. He hadn't expected Kuai Lai Zhu to deceive him like this, but he figured he had to visit this overseas Chinese house to find out the truth for himself. He needed to ask directly what really happened with his safe. Soon after, the special investigation team made a late-night visit, but even after ringing the doorbell for more than 10 minutes, there was no response. According to information Zheng Qi had gathered, the villa was a rental, with a 1-year lease, and the tenant's name was Su Haifeng. Without hesitation, Zaw Wu pulled out his phone and called Su Haifeng directly. To his surprise, a phone rang from inside the house. Zheng Qi was still confused, not sure what to do, when Zaw Wu kicked the door open and stormed inside. Even though he knew this was an illegal home invasion, Zheng Qi had no choice but to follow Zaw Wu's orders since he was his superior. After a quick inspection, Wu Xiu-min also sensed something was off. There wasn't a speck of dust anywhere, as if someone had been cleaning the place every day on purpose. Don't tell me this guy, Su Haifeng, has been kidnapped, Wu Xiu-min said. Zheng Qi also noticed that the phone left behind was an old model. He suggested they go outside to check the security cameras to see what they might show. With no other leads, Zaw Wu decided to head upstairs to investigate further. As soon as they entered a room, Wu Xiu-min noticed the safe from Pang Yong's story. It made him wonder what exactly Kuai Lai Zhu had stolen. At that moment, Zheng Qi shouted over the walkie-talkie, something's going on. They heard the voices of a group of strangers, and Zaw Wu quickly realized that someone was hiding inside the villa. Running outside, Zaw Wu saw that Zheng Qi was being held down, and even more shocking, the people who were restraining him were from the police. Then, the team leader began explaining everything. 30 minutes ago, someone from this villa posted all the case files of a serial murder online. It's clear the killer made the leak happen. The photos are all from the crime scenes. The volume of information is massive and came in suddenly, and our cybersecurity team hasn't been able to contain it. There are details, comments, and even provocative posts. It's way beyond what we can handle. We believe Liu Wu is likely hiding here, so we rushed over to search the place. Zaw Wu listened carefully and thought to himself, could it be that the girl had seen Liu Wu 3 days ago when she came here to steal the safe, but she couldn't tell the truth, or else her involvement in the theft would be exposed? So she came up with a clever trick and lied, saying she knew where Liu Wu was. She told that Liu Wu was hiding at the hideout of the thief gang, which would not only solve Pang Yang's problem, but also help her escape without a hitch. Suddenly, one of the officers rushed in and called out to the team leader, informing him that there was an issue in the garage. As soon as they entered, a strong, foul odor hit everyone's nose, like the stench of sewage. Wu Xiumin suddenly shouted, "Oh my god, isn't this the first victim, Pang and Kang? These walls are covered with files about the dead people. This is Liu Wu's office. He really is the murderer in the pharmaceutical factory case." After finishing his phone call, the team leader quickly turned to Zhao and said, "Zhao, I just got word that the documents Su Haifeng used to rent the place are all fake. Our officers showed Liu Wu's photo to the property management and the landlord. They confirmed that the person who rented the place was Liu Wu. But Wu Xiumin seemed skeptical. She felt that such a complex plan for revenge couldn't have been carried out by just him alone." Then another colleague continued to report, "All the online information is being routed from here." Before they could process that, Ran Tao called again. "Team leader, weren't you asking me to investigate the factory manager who might have framed Liu Wu? There's a deputy factory manager named Han Zhenhai, who's Liu Wu's direct superior. When they were reviewing positions, Han Zhenhai wanted Liu Wu to add his name to a new drug research project. But Liu Wu not only refused, but mocked him in front of everyone. After that, the two of them became enemies. Now the problem is that Han Zhenhai has disappeared. I've searched everywhere, and I can't find him." As soon as he finished speaking, Zheng Qi suddenly yelled, "Do you understand the operation rules? What if the killer set up a program to delete all the files the moment you click the mouse?" Zheng Qi's words turned out to be true. At that moment, the screen showed 27 seconds left, and the system confirmed that a C4 bomb had been detected. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Zaw Wu immediately ordered everyone to run out. "Everyone listen up. Get out of here now." Zaw Wu commanded. "As for me, I'll stay back a little longer to collect all the data from the wall." With the screen showing only 8 seconds left, Zaw Wu frantically ran out. It wasn't the fire and smoke that would take his life, but the younger comrades back at base. Zaw Wu made it out safely. However, Wu Xiumin, who had run out earlier, was knocked unconscious by the explosion. A piece of glass had pierced her neck. A colleague rushed over to try and stop the bleeding, but was horrified when he saw Zaw Wu yank the shard of glass out. "Are you crazy?" the colleague yelled. "That's the jugular. If you pull it out, she could die instantly." But Zaw Wu didn't care at all. He urgently ordered the colleague to quickly bandage her up. While doing so, the colleague was confused because Wu Xiumin's wound had stopped bleeding, as if the blood had somehow been sealed inside. It turned out that Zaw Wu had used a hidden clotting agent, which is why he was confident enough to pull the glass out like that. Then he handed his phone to the captain, confirming that I had taken the photo with my mobile phone, the materials about Han Zhenhai that Liu Wu had gathered on the basement wall earlier. Liu Wu has most likely already trapped Han Zhenhai. We need to find him before midnight, or Liu Wu will kill Han Zhenhai. The captain, upon hearing this, broke into a cold sweat. After checking, he seemed a bit helpless, as the materials didn't show any clear methods of murder, nor did they provide an exact location. Where exactly is he going to kill him? Zaw Wu continued to analyze. In Liu Wu's garage, there are fresh tire marks, so he definitely has a car. Ran Tao told me that Han Zhenhai has been missing for 2 days now. Liu Wu must have trapped him 2 days ago. What he meant was, Liu Wu had probably been hiding Han Zhenhai in the villa. It's possible that 30 minutes ago he uploaded the murder materials to the internet from the villa and then drove away in his car. Zaw Wu immediately instructed everyone to go check the neighborhood surveillance cameras to see what car Liu Wu had taken when he left. On the way, the captain also spoke up. 25 minutes ago, Liu Wu drove out of the residential area heading southwest. We've informed the traffic department to control the traffic and assist in the full search for the vehicle's route. Suddenly, the voice on the other end of the line added, the traffic police, through the surveillance cameras, found that Liu Wu's car had entered a village. The team leader was a little curious, not understanding where he was trying to go. At this moment, Zheng Qi spoke up and added, earlier I found out that Liu Wu really enjoys fishing. Could he be heading toward the lake? But the team leader didn't think so, because right now he's in kill and escape mode, so he wouldn't be in the mood for fishing. What I'm suggesting is that since the murder case at the pharmaceutical factory began, the 4 victims have been killed in different ways, beaten to death, burned alive, poisoned, and suffocated. Could it be that he's planning to drown the 5th victim? That was when a new lead came through. The forensic expert on the other end of the line said that tire tracks matching Liu Wu's vehicle had appeared on the small road leading into the woods. We had already seen the suspicious car by the lake, and it seemed like there was someone inside. Okay, you guys need to stay hidden, don't make a move yet. We're on our way. Before he could finish speaking, a loud noise came from the woods, startling Zheng Qi and causing him to almost lose control of the wheel. Then from a distance, a huge puff of white smoke rose like a giant mushroom cloud. Without hesitating, the three of them immediately rushed to the scene of the explosion. Once the fire was put out, Zheng Qi checked and found a body completely charred in the trunk of the car. Zheng Qi quickly asked, "Who's the person in the trunk?" Zaw Wu confidently answered, "That's Liu Wu." The anomaly system has also been completed, with a completion level of 119%. He received an invisible fireproof suit that can withstand a fire for up to 10 minutes. Exhausted, the three of them decided to go to the hot spring, though their real purpose was to watch the group of girls bathing. At this point, Zheng Qi added, "The police station has already finished comparing the DNA results. The person who died in the car was indeed Liu Wu." Zheng Qi continued to ask, why did Liu Wu commit suicide? Could it be that he had already planned to die with Han Zhenhai? Even though Liu Wu didn't get the chance to extort the huge ransom, he still had a chance to escape. "I've always felt there's more to this case," Zheng Qi added. Liu Wu might have had other accomplices. Liu Wu killed the victim because he had deep grudges with both the victim and the pharmaceutical factory, and his suicide could also be explained by a fear of facing punishment. But what about his accomplices? The 5 million yuan has already been burned. Clearly, this wasn't about money. Zheng Qi kept speculating, could it be that Liu Wu killed himself to protect his accomplices? If he's dead, the police might stop investigating his partners. This whole case is really strange. After countless preliminary analyses, Zaw Wu still hadn't said a word. Out of curiosity, Ran Tao quickly removed the towel from Zaw Wu's face, only to find that Zaw Wu was sound asleep, which made the two of them panic. "Wow, he can sleep through this? We can't let him sleep here. The team leader's too tired. Let's carry him to a rest room so he can sleep." Suddenly, Zaw Wu spoke up and analyzed, in just 4 days, 6 people died, money was burned, and explosions occurred. With so much happening, Liu Wu, as a medical doctor, wouldn't be able to carry out such a series of precise murders on his own. There has to be someone else who took advantage of Liu Wu's anger, quickly turning this into a murder case at the pharmaceutical factory. Once they were done using him, they killed him to silence him. Zheng Qi then asked, so Liu Wu was also used by someone else? But why would they do that? What's in it for them? Zaw Wu replied, "I'm not sure about that, but the pharmaceutical factory has been listed overseas. It's a large corporation with an annual production value in the billions. Anything could be tied to financial interests." Zaw Wu turned to Ran Tao. "Ran Tao, tomorrow, find a suitable place to set up our base. We can't stay at the local police station anymore, and we need to be extra cautious at the hotel we're staying in." "Are you worried about spies at the police station?" "I'm just being cautious. As for Zheng Qi, once we have a location, you'll take care of setting up your equipment. Once we start the investigation, we'll need a lot of materials. We also need to be prepared in case Liu Wu is linked to a powerful criminal organization." Zaw Wu paused for a moment before continuing. "Now, let's all get some good rest. We've got a tough battle ahead of us." The scene then shifted to the new base of the Special Investigation Team, where everyone was busy unpacking. Meanwhile, Zaw Wu was quietly analyzing the situation. "The girl probably stole something from Liu Wu's safe. If we can find her, she might be able to help with the case. For a thief like her, a few thousand yuan from selling the drugs isn't much, so why would she go to a mental hospital to steal drugs in the first place?" Suddenly, Zheng Qi called the team leader. "I just spoke with the mental hospital. They said there haven't been any recent reports of stolen drugs." After hearing this, Zaw Wu was a bit surprised and thought to himself, the drugs that Kuai Lai Zhu stole are still in her hotel room. If those drugs are important, she's probably going to come back to get them. Next, Wu Xiumin called the team leader. "The drugs are in your hotel room, so you and that girl spent a night alone together? To you too, you know?" Wu Xiumin started imagining some very dark scenarios, which made Ran Tao uncomfortable, so he shouted, "Enough already! What is wrong with you? Can't you see what's important? Kuai Lai Zhu is very likely to come back to the hotel to steal those drugs. We need to hurry up and catch her." Back at the hotel, as soon as they entered the room, they found it in complete disarray. Wu Xiumin was also impressed by how bold the girl was. "Team leader, where the heck did you find someone like this? She even dared to come back to the hotel where the police are staying to steal stuff. I'm impressed." The surveillance camera had captured everything. 20 minutes after we raided the thieves' hideout, Kuai Lai Zhu entered the room and left a minute later with a backpack. "I'm going to step outside and see if I can figure out which way she went," the team leader said. Zaw Wu quietly pondered, analyzing the situation. Is the goal to get the medicine? Why risk going back to the hotel to steal it? She was the one who left the medicine behind. Could it be that these are the same drugs she stole from Liu Wu's safe? Liu Wu is in charge of pharmaceutical research and development, so it makes sense that he'd have medicine hidden in his safe. The priority now is to find that girl. Then Zaw Wu headed to the pet market. This was the location where the system had given him a new lead. As he was figuring out what to do next, the car in front of him suddenly sped up. He wasn't quick enough to react, and his car collided with the other one. Before he could even get mad, the car ahead of him unexpectedly accelerated again, making Zaw Wu's face turn red with anger. Without hesitation, he sped up and chased after it. Even though he had already identified himself as a police officer and demanded the other driver pull over, the driver ignored him completely, making Zaw Wu even angrier. Without thinking twice, Zaw Wu immediately used his invisibility boost tool, targeting the road sweeper. This caused the sweeper to accelerate and crash directly into the 7-seat car. Once everything seemed under control, Zaw Wu quickly approached and pulled a blonde man out of the vehicle. With a punch to the left, a slap to the right, and a kick to the man's chest, the blonde man was knocked unconscious. When Zaw Wu opened the car door again, a couple who had been bound and gagged immediately crawled out. As soon as the girl's tape was removed from her mouth, she screamed, "Help! Someone's trying to kill us." Just as he was about to untie the girl, a car suddenly appeared from behind. Then, a group of thugs holding sticks stepped out. The driver, seeing this, spoke up and ordered, "Beat that bastard to death for me." But in less than 30 seconds, the tough thugs who were so aggressive moments ago were now unconscious lying in the street. The girl, now free from her restraints, rushed over and grabbed Zaw Wu's legs, saying, "Big brother, from now on, you should be my bodyguard. Stick with me, and I guarantee you'll have a bright future." Meanwhile, the girl on the other side was angrily shouting, "Ma Lao Dan, listen to me. We're done. If I keep following you, I'll probably lose my life. You've already ruined my reputation. How am I ever going to show my face to anyone again?" But Yi shamelessly replied, "It's fine, baby. Go ahead and take the pictures. Tomorrow we'll be famous. Just wait for the fans to come." Suddenly, Zaw Wu walked up, grabbed his head, and asked, "What's this Ma Lao Dan thing? Huh? Are you scared by my title?" Ma Lao Dan, who was well known in the underworld, then smugly replied, "Let me tell you something. I was trying to bribe Kuai Li Zhu with money, but she's tough. She didn't take the bait, so no one's been able to mess with her. But her chest, now that's something. I've never seen a thief girl with such a impressive figure. And you're actually really beautiful too." Back at the police station, Ma Lao Dan was smirking as he recounted the story. "Do you know what exactly Kuai Li Zhu stole in the end?" Ma Lao Dan doesn't know anything except for her chest. "All I know is that after she stole something, both the underworld and the police were looking for her. It must have been something valuable. My dad is also looking for her to the point where he even disappeared himself." Zaw Wu suddenly became serious. "From what I know, after Kuai Li Zhu stole the safe, she sneaked into the psychiatric hospital and stole some medicine. If she already got something valuable, why would she steal medicine too? But the psychiatric hospital says they didn't have any reports of stolen medicine." "Oh, I know about that. There's a doctor at the psychiatric hospital who buys medicine for a high price. Anything they steal from big hospitals is brought there to be sold. The psychiatric hospital is a place with few visitors, and they don't check things closely, so it's easy to buy and sell stuff like that. She didn't go there to steal medicine. She went there to sell what she stole." Zaw Wu was shocked when he heard this. "So that's it. The thing Kuai Li Zhu took from Liu Wu's safe, which everyone thought was priceless, turned out to be just a bunch of medicine. To trade that medicine for money, she sold it to the doctor at the psychiatric hospital. But after selling it, she must have heard some news and realized that the medicine could have a different value. That's why she took the risk to sneak back into the psychiatric hospital and steal more medicine. She risked going back to the hotel to steal it, probably wanting to exchange those drugs for something of even greater value. Anyone who wants to make a deal with her will be connected to the serial murder case." Zaw Wu continued, raising another question. "When did your father go missing? How did he disappear?" Ma Lao Dan honestly explained, "About 3 days ago, my father went with a group of people to search for Kuai Li Zhu. They searched everywhere, but somehow he disappeared that same day. First, Kuai Li Zhu stole something, then your father went missing, and then your warehouse got seized. So why did they arrest you?" He paused for a moment, then added, "I don't really know much about it, but the police seized the warehouse, and inside it, there were goods belonging to Yi Sheng. My father is missing, and Yi Sheng's people are worried we might be trying to steal their stuff, so they want to arrest me." After thinking for a moment, Zaw Wu responded, "If you can help me find Kuai Li Zhu, I'll consider letting you go this time." Ma Lao Dan answered, "Yes, officer, I can do my best to help you find him, but if my father isn't found, I can't promise anything." Zaw Wu immediately scolded him sharply, "You idiot, why are you still so confused? If you can find Kuai Li Zhu, there's a chance you might also find your father, because they're together." Even after that, Ma Lao Dan seemed a little dazed and replied, "My dad treats Kuai Li Zhu like his own daughter, but there's definitely no romantic relationship between them. Kuai Li Zhu can't be my stepmother." This response made Zaw Wu furious. "You idiot, are you really that dense? What I mean is they're together in the same place, not that. Do you get it? Are you that clueless?